Chaos Reign. And now, a moment back in time. Chaos Reign presents Kicked Out of Heaven, Volume 1. This is with guest Keenan Booker. A broadcast June the 2nd, 2017. This is a classic. Enjoy.
Blog Talk Radio. The views expressed on Talk Real Solutions, hosted by Tyrone Thompson at TalkRealSolutions.com, are the views of Tyrone Thompson and do not reflect the views of TalkRealSolutions.com, YouTube, or etc. The content here belongs to Talk Real Solutions and its many contributors. Views and opinions expressed by all contributors belong to them and not TalkRealSolutions.com or Tyrone Thompson, the host, or etc. All data and information provided on the site is for informational purposes only. Talk Real Solutions makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, correctness, suitability, or validity of any information on this site and will not be liable for any errors, omissions, or delays in this information or any losses, injuries, or damages arising from its display or use. All information is provided on an as-is basis.
In the world where there is corruption, violence, and all forms of atrocities and destruction, you're witnessing and you're seeing a state of chaos in which we live in. And it'll take a much greater chaos to restore the order in the world we live in today. Good evening, black people. Yes. 1 second. Tyra, are you there? Let me get. I think it's wrong with the damn line. Tyra Thompson, you there?
Yeah, man. What's up?
My guest said the line is busy when you try to call.
Yeah, I'm having problems I have problems calling in too, man. This is the cell phone. Only thing I can tell him to do is just keep trying, man. I just tell him to keep trying, because I don't know what it is, but I can't call from my house phone. It stays busy. So I called to my cell phone, and I'm trying to get this disconnected to YouTube. So I don't know what it is, brother.
Okay. All right, stay online. Let me see if I get in contact with him right now.
Now, hey, you know how to use the dollar?
Which one?
Okay, there's a phone right above. You see that little magnifying glass and the phone right above the your number? You can use that little phone to dial somebody into the show. So if you click on that phone, just punch his phone number in there, and you can dial him from the show.
All right, I'm gonna let him know now. Give me 1 second. Tyrone, as I wait, give people a 3-point plan. The situation.
I'm working on this audio, man. I'm trying to get this audio up, brother.
Okay. All right, do your thing. Let me see. All right, Black people. Give me 1 second. Let me address this. You know how the technical difficulties stay. You know, they now slow us down one bit. 724. 3. Okay. All right. So let me try this. All right. This is something new, Tom. I didn't know Law Talk could do this.
The number you are calling is temporarily unavailable. Please try later.
Let me try put it 1. See that work.
The number you are calling is temporarily unavailable. Please try later.
All right. Oh, I pressed the wrong button.
There you go. All right,
Okay.
I got YouTube up, man. But I'm gonna I'm working on YouTube.
Hello?
Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, hold on.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, 1 second. Let me see. Let me just get back to the board. All right. So all right, Keen. So let me speak. Let me hear the volume. Make sure the volume's okay on your end. You can talk.
Mm-hmm. You hear me?
Yeah, I think I hear you. Okay. All right, we'll deal with this for now. Yeah, for some reason, this is the same issue from yesterday when people called it. It has been busy, but it looks like people are on the line now, and one probably raised their hand. Let me see what this is. 1 second. Who's 425?
Gary, get it together, Gary. You're on the air, messing around.
Oh. All right, never mind. No mind that. Distraction. Okay. Well, we're gonna start the show, and to all everybody, tonight I have a. Hold on. Here. 1 second. What's that? Is that you, Tom? Okay, that's on you. Okay. Right, I'm gonna put you on mute, Tom.
Yeah, it would be best for you to put everybody on mute. Seriously. I don't want no interruptions, bro, because that stuff messes up a lot of stuff with me.
Yeah. And I will be taking questions in like maybe an hour or so, depending how if the question I give out. But so be patient, so I don't. All right. So tonight, to all the callers listening, I present to you "Kicked Out of Heaven," featuring my guest Keena Booker, and this is the first volume of one of his well-written masterpieces that released in 2016. And this deals with the history of the untold history of the white race from 700 to 1700 AD. Mr. Booker, since you are new to this platform, Copper Solutions, to all the new listeners that listen in, I always, before we start our dialogue, we always like to take a step back before we go forward to any discussion. So you could tell the guests tonight a little bit about yourself.
Oh. I'm 33. I got 2 children. I've written 4 books. The first one is The Black Man's Bible. The second one is Real Nigga Etiquette. And then the third and the fourth one is Kicked Out of Heaven, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And I also have 4 albums out. The first one is The Immortal Spectacle. The second one is The Monster. The third one is The Onyx Tablet. The fourth one is Negro Please. And the fifth one will be The Money Religion. The Money Religion and the third volume of Kicked Out of Heaven will be released this coming July 4th.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Independence Day release.
Right. Besides that, I've traveled across the world. I've delivered my own child, my second son, that is. And I have the websites up, theblackmansbible.com and kickedoutofheaven.com. and theguide720.com, and I also own MillenniumDVDs.com, where you will find over 3,000 films of all the scholars, all the black scholars and doctors. Okay, so if there's anything else you would like to know, you can ask. I guess.
Now, you mean, okay, in regards to the black scholars, you mean there's an actual DVD that talks about every scholar that has written from past to present?
Yeah, well, I mean, the lectures, like, you know, I got Francis Cress Welsing, I got Dr. C.B., I got them all on film, the lectures on DVD for $5 a piece. Yeah. I got everybody's stuff. I got everybody. You know, I got Negro League Baseball on film. I got Bobby Hemmett, Phil Valentine. I got everybody.
Oh, Negro. You know, I honestly got to remember watching black people soul baseball team. I know you have that. And you got a wide collection.
Yeah, I got Negro League Baseball. I got Idlewild, Michigan, which was the Hollywood for black people in the 1920s. I got films on everything. I got the Elijah Muhammad actual lectures. I have all his audio lectures. There's over like 600 lectures. I have about 600 lectures of Manly P. Hall, you know, who is a master mason, basically. I have a lot of stuff, basically. You know, it's all available, though, at MillenniumDVDs.com. I got about 80 films on yoga. I got Egyptian yoga. I got, you know, there's a lot of stuff over there. You know. I got Haile Selassie on film. When Haile Selassie met JFK, I got all of that stuff. You know.
Okay. Okay. Well, like anything, you know, before the end of the show, we'll just repeat the links one more time for people to know where to get all the material. Now, this book, Kicked Out of Habit. When I first heard this book, Keenan, it was a friend on T.R.S. that got your book, the first volume. And I don't know if you finished read it, but the description alone from the writing you did in this book was very intriguing and very in-depth to how I look at Europeans, which I already know enough about them, but look at it a different way from the way how you wrote this book, you know, how they progress over the centuries or regress.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my first questions to ask is, what made you go into writing a book like this, volumes 1 through 3?
Well, there's a lot of levels to why I wrote the book. There's a lot of levels, but to be short and sweet, the events that were occurring at the time, with the police shooting up black men all across the country, right before when Obama was leaving office, you know, I understood that how white males were perceiving black or how black affected their psyche was a little bit more deeply rooted than just black men. And you can also see that with the activities that happened during the African-American slave trade. I understood when you look at that, what was going on during those times, that their intelligence, how they operated was sort of and they had a blindness. There was sort of a blindness. For you to call a human an animal and then to have human sex with it is, you know, you got to be at a certain type of psyche to be able to do that. And there has to be, for anything that the mind does, it has to justify itself to do it. So we're talking about, you know, racial activity, the culturally embedded activity. So, and the activity is an effect, it's not the cause. So we didn't know the causes of why they were acting in their behavior and the way they were towards black people or towards, you know, towards African Americans or towards, you know, the other races on the planet. So that right there was one reason why I went that route, you know. Yeah, that's one good. There's tons of reasons on why I went down this lane, but that's just to be short and sweet. There's one.
Okay. Because I take it that you're very much a very avid reader and researcher. Because even the book I have in my possession, and the second volume, a lot of work has gone through in regards to compiling such information, even to the point where it's written in a chronological order. Like So it looks like, I'm not sure how many years you took, or some books that you remember reading, they took to decide to structure it and to lay it all out in this type of work.
You're asking me how I compiled it, you're asking, what are you asking me?
Oh, no, I'm just saying, like, you read, like,
how many books have I read to put this together?
Yeah, to compile, like, it took a lot of research to compile, like through this type of work of untold history, because there's so much history that we're never going to know. One book, or
yeah, I read about 90 plus books. I'm still reading books. As a matter of fact, the book just came in today, and this one is extreme. And it's really sad because I won't be able to do what I need to do with it in order to put it into volume 3, you know. But yeah, I'm telling you right now, bro, it's deep, and you have to understand that these 3 volumes is really nothing but like the froth. It's like the foam. It's not, you haven't even really hit the water yet, because there's a lot of levels there's a lot of things that I didn't put in the book that I could have, you know, and there's a lot of, you know, things that have yet to be discovered that are still at our availability. And I don't know if I won't be able to put it all out because, you know, I have to finish this volume 3, and the volume 3 is specifically on the Catholic Church, and then the rest of it's a picture book. So.
Okay.
Hey guys, let me interrupt. Let me interrupt you for a minute, Gary. Hey, how you doing, Mr. Booker? Listen, Gary, your audio is really fading really low. So if you can correct that, man. I'm just not at my PC to message you and let you know. So I'm just letting you know your audio is fading low, Gary. Okay?
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, a little bit. You can turn it up a little bit more, though.
All right. Let me see if I can adjust about it, because one thing, the only way to correct this, I had to hang up. I don't want to hang up because I'm on.
That's perfect, Derek. What you're doing now is perfect, brother.
All right. Well, let me see if I get my Bluetooth ready, because I don't want to keep the phone close to my ear. But all right, we'll work with this for now. What else am I say?
Well, just so you know, Gary, with BTR, if you use these accessories, the audio really sucks. So it's best to talk right into the microphone. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm going out the way, brother. All right. Thanks for coming to the show, Mr. Booker. I appreciate it, man. All right.
Thanks.
Well, let me know if I'm fading in and out. When I speak, I'll try to be as close to the microphone. All right?
Okay.
All right. And you move on. Yeah, because you read 900 plus books?
900? No. I've only read 90. 90 plus books. There's more that I'm reading. I'm still reading books. You know, I got to put out the volume 3, so I'm still, you know, doing my thing over here.
Okay.
You know.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Because even me, to tell a story myself before I was not really an avid reader myself. I just started reading more, and you know, I take time reading a little bit as I go for the last maybe seven years. And like all people, like, you know, I didn't find nothing really good about books until I came across one book. And I think it dealt with science, our science. And after going through that book, it started opening the way for other books. So within time, and this is like years ago back, I started to find interest in information and try to learn as much as possible or gather understand as possible. So like any person that search or, you know, read at times, you know, I read and I collect books, you know what I'm saying? I find that, you know, it's informative and it deals with somewhat of the history or in other forms of technology. All the above that's necessary to, you know, for most of our people to really get an understanding of not only the world but how we could thrive moving forward, because it is in the book, unfortunately. And a lot of people, because of the conditioning that, the funny thing about this, as far as what we taught when they always use the word education, it only goes so far when we in the classical. After we so-called get what we get, either get a degree and stuff, all type of learning eventually cease. Majority of people, if they go further in their education, depending on what level they are. And I find it very shocking to know to say, there's more to life than just, if you get to that direction, let's say you go through the college level and you get what you want, that you should not be stopped growing. You should always constantly grow and try to learn as much more as possible, because the world is ever changing. And since we live in a competitive world where these rich people find ways to, to keep the condition of mind of majority of people so they don't be competitive, we fall out and get behind on a lot of things, So when they do their attacks systematically, it is expected, and we don't really use our means or any ways to combat it properly, besides an emotional response. I hope I'm not losing you from what I'm saying, Keenan.
I'm right here.
Okay. So now, and the funny thing, if people didn't know, before the introduction of television to every household before around the 40s, the illiteracy rate of most people, not our people, but generally, it started to decline in every decade generation, and that's in the 40s. So it tells you the power of, when people stop doing certain things and try to use other forms to subside and entertain themselves instead of trying to keep their mind stimulated, it does play a role to, a lot of things. But moving on, now to the meat of the book. One of the things that you start off with, before anybody start off with the chapter itself, you deal with the epigenetic side of things. I'm not sure if you want to elaborate in regards to epigenetics.
Yeah, that's fine. Epigenetics is, well, one thing I've always understood about existence, human existence, is, everything has a high percentage of, repeat when it comes to the parents and the children and the parents and the children and the parents and the children. What falls down through generations are what we call, quote-unquote, generational curses. So there is the scientific medical terminology for this, and that is epigenetics. Epigenetics is the theory, the medical theory, that traumatic experiences which develop into behaviors as the effect are seen as are create markers on the DNA, basically, and it passes down by generation. The effect, which is the behavior or the desire to heal the trauma, is loaded in the DNA and passed down. And, and then also with the massaging of the adult, the behavior could be influenced or it could be extracted out of the child, depending on what type of mentality and spirit the parents hold, and if they can identify the activity in their child. Some parents say, oh, okay, some crazy shit happened to me, and they keep it in their secret box, and then they have a child, and then they see their child doing some weird ass shit, and they're like, oh, okay, I don't need my child to do that, so they break it out of them. Or they say, oh, my child's doing the same thing I'm doing, and they influence it. You see? So that's epigenetics. So I understood that this needed to be discussed before we went in on the material, as the majority of old European society was based upon traumatic experiences and, a hatred social,
Okay. And to be honest with you, I think this might be the first time I heard of epigenetics reading your book, reading that first section of the book. And I always think that I think it ties with us, with our people in regards to slavery, through the trauma our people went through, and our people still have those, I guess, slave tendencies that was passed down through generation after generation.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you could say that, but a lot of activity really predates slavery. I'm gonna be honest. When you understand the Aboriginal format, it is not healthy. The Aboriginal format of thinking is not a good format of thinking. It's very inexperienced, and it's really based upon a lot of fear. And that's why tribes never developed, because they don't have a mentality of progress, because their social structure is based on fear. You know, and their social structure is based on a limitation of intelligence, and they're very limited in a lot of things that they do. So, you know, a lot of things that we try to point our finger at when it comes to slavery is not really slavery. It's really holding on to tribal mentality that predates slavery.
Oh, okay. You think?
Yeah. So, you know, because slavery, see, what people don't understand is that slavery is going to put a burn on your ass, and you're going to get your mind right. And that's why we had the development of cities like Idlewild, Michigan. We had the Roseville, Florida. You had the Slocum, Texas. You had the Tulsa, Oklahoma. You had the Durham, North Carolina. You had cities all across America that was all black-owned, operated. You know, we had movie houses, trains, libraries, schools, the whole system. Why? Because they were traumatized. They were beat, hung, and they got their mind right, and they developed. You see? Right now, Negroes are relaxed. They got the Section 8. They got the welfare. There's no burn on your ass, so you're doing nothing. And that's the way the system works. You see, Caucasians with the kicked out of heaven, you will see clearly, right after the epigenetics, I go through 1,000 years of natural disasters, and you will see clearly that they have the burn embedded in their DNA. Okay? They have a constant fear that something was going to crash down on them, so they have to protect themselves, as they've been through so much attack that they've had to face the attack. Tribes didn't go through this much attack. Tribes just dealt with the animals that was around them. When my study that I've done through with tribes, and that's a multitude of different tribes and different races, I've never ran across natural disasters or extreme natural disasters. I've never ran across that. Right, exactly. When we're talking about, you know, you had your seasonal mechanism that went down with America, so you might have some natural disasters here and there. You might, with the Indians, North American Indians, you might have an earthquake here or there, you know, but when it comes to blizzards and all of that, they had that here in North America, but I've never heard of a blizzard or 3 years with no sun or extreme floods or extreme earthquakes that swallowed whole cities in Africa. Never heard of that. I'm not saying that it's not there. I'm saying that I've never heard of it. And I have researched and looked. Okay?
Okay.
So what we're really talking about is trial and error, which is what they've had more trial and error than anybody else, basically. So, but go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, and that part, people, what he's talking about is another section dealing with weather and natural disasters. And I think it's only in Europe they suffer these, because there's a map of Europe, 4 pictures of map. I can't find it. I have the clear color picture, but as I see the progression, I think I'm seeing areas that's been colonized or reshaped.
Oh, you're talking about the 4 maps I got in the front?
Yes, correct.
Okay, now the reason why I put those 4 maps right there is to show you that there was a constant change. And this is also something that is different versus Western civilization and tribal thinking. And I can't necessarily say Eastern civilization, because Eastern civilization also has changed. But Western civilization had a multitude of different changes, and that's why I put those maps right there, is to show you that the borderlines of the countries were always reshaping. And the reason why they were reshaping was a multitude of different reasons, whether that be war, whether that be famine, whether that be, you know, a blitzkrieg overnight, you know, when, you know, somebody came and blitzed them, you know, overnight, one of the kingdoms took over another kingdom, because if one kingdom, went through a famine and they lost over their food, and they're coming to the next door, and we're pillaging, we're taking over, So that could have happened, a wipeout from a flood could have happened, a blizzard. There's dust storms that wiped out whole cities at a time, So the border lines were always, and then the plagues as well would also destroy the economy and make people travel in different directions. So that would destroy a whole country. And whole countries were taken out sometimes with the plagues. Because you have to understand, and the plagues are talked about in Volume 2. The plagues, was a consistent 300, 400-year loop of plagues going on in every single region of Europe and going on, and different styles of diseases is also what you have to understand. And also different styles on who they affected. So sometimes all children would get wiped out with a plague. Then another time, it'll be all the grown men that get wiped out with the plague. Then another time, it might be young girls or usually the women outlasted the men when it comes to plague. More men would die during the plague than the women, and that was sort of the reason why a lot of women also got looked at as witches and was taken to the stake. So, all of that is, in the DNA, and they went on with this for 1,000 years. So how they move now is definitely based upon these principles, of the events that have happened. It's they move, man. They have a burn on them, and they're going to consistently move, and they can work underneath the most extreme conditions. And they all understand that there is sacrifice for whatever that needs to be achieved, and that is for their race and also mankind. Please understand that there are very large rituals that they did that were for the entirety of the human race before they even left Europe. Yeah, bro. Like they was doing some wild stuff. Like this is high level spirituality to be really to go in on this. This is why it was never done. This is why these subjects were never covered. Because you got to have a lot of understanding to go mess around with this stuff, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now, and you feel the reality as soon in the weather section. You can hear the screams. If you don't hear the screams, and if you don't feel your gut rewire when you read the weather section, you don't have a soul. That's how I'm gonna have to put it to you.
Oh shit.
Yeah, because that's real. You said when me and you talked, you said you heard the screams, right?
Yeah, well, when I read it, and I always read things a second time. When I read the detail of what they've gone through, that's just the
first. I'm talking about the first 50 pages, the weather section alone.
Yeah.
Exactly. You will re-question existence of reading the first 50 pages. I guarantee you. And if you don't, then you just don't have the intelligence to be messing around. And you need to, go get your name on your shirt, get a job, and stay right there. That's where you can play.
I see. Yeah.
A robot. You're not alive enough. You see what I'm saying? You don't have no love and no you don't have the passions in you, brother. If you didn't feel the essence of the words being used in the weather section, when dude was like, it was great trouble then. The children were eating the parents, and the parents were cooking the children.
Yeah.
Woe was the times. Bro, what are you talking about? The energy in those words? The whole, how you take words should be completely different after the weather section alone. If you do not, then you're just, go get your name on your shirt. Go to a college somewhere. This life isn't for you. You're a robot. Yeah, this is life. This is soul. This is the passions. And that's why when you read that weather section, you have to look at the game completely different. Because this is the weather. Who has control on the weather?
That section though, I had to look at. I had to say, living times, and I say, I'm grateful being black. Say damn, I feel it'd be sucked to be them at that time, yo, because.
Right. See, go ahead, tell me. Come on.
Yeah, because I mean, when we talk, what we've gone through, these people, shit. I mean, it amazes me a race of people could survive. What they that period when it's constant climate, when like I said, when you get no food to eat, you have to eat your own, and it's like a survival mechanism. Well, no, if you survive this, you like almost like a, what's the word? I didn't want to use the word, but you know what I mean.
Bro, it was the great horror. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now. I mean, they got scenes up in there talking about the people. The people were so thin from the famine that you could see the sunlight through their bodies. They were crawling to eat carrion. The carrion is a bird, and the carrion is usually the bird that picks up dead bodies. I don't know if they're referring that to the vulture or not, because the vultures used to hang around medieval a lot. The vultures, they got the red eyes. So when it comes to red eyes and death, that's where they got it from. The vultures of medieval Europe have solid red eyes with no pupil. So, yeah. So they was, dealing with the carrion. The bodies are hollow, and they're crawling on the ground to eat the dead pigeons. And the wolves come out of the woods to attack the bodies, okay, that are crawling on the fucking ground, okay. And then when they come to the city again, they find more people. They find more people that are hollowed out. And they're all, you can see the sun through them. They're so skinny. They haven't eaten food in so long that when they tried to refeed the people, they died because their body couldn't even take the food. That's mentioned in the weather section. They talk about that in the weather section, that they couldn't even, when they were feeding them to come back to life, to get back used to food, that their bodies were already adjusted to being so foreign to food that when the food entered their body, it killed them. They were dealing with those type of medical experiences back in the 1000s, 1100s. I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah. The weather section, yeah, it get graphic.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, that weather section. No, but it's true. Like I said, to rewire the gut. Let me tell you something. This is the deep dark. This is the first volume is the conscious mind. The second volume is the unconscious mind, and the third volume. The second volume is the subconscious, and the third volume is the unconscious. What you got to understand is that also, what's so funny about the weather that we're talking about, I'm also going to let you all know that in volume 2, I have a big section called the Tempestari, which are the witches who create weather. So now it comes to a question on if this weather was created or not. We don't know. But we're talking about 100-pound hailstones, 15-inch wide hailstones. We're talking about oak trees snapping in two. We're talking about the Thames River was frozen over so solid that they spit roasted a bull and partied on the ice, okay? Yo, this shit is phenomenal. Because it's so outlandish and extreme in some areas, but whenever there's an extremity mentioned inside this book, I provide pictures to let you know it was very real.
And the fun thing with the pictures that you that I was, as I read, I find pictures. Those pictures that you come across, are those found in textbooks, or those ones you have to travel across the world to uncover?
Oh man, I got the majority of those pictures come from offline. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, bro, I ain't travel across the world, do nothing. People, my people aren't gonna support me enough to do that. We don't love each other enough to support each other to support one of our scholars to fly across the globe to do nothing. Okay?
You're right.
So,
you're right.
do no work like this. No. But I got all of these off of research online and out of my books. Out of the books I got.
Okay. Well said.
But Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, hold on. Let me check. I have some questions. A friend did promise me to send because he wanted to ask.
Come on, bring them.
Let me see. All right. Yeah. All right. We're gonna take one of the questions one of my friends posted.
Come on.
The first question is what species of people are the Europeans? That's the first question.
They're humans. What do you mean with species? I mean, humans.
Okay.
I mean, what do you want me to say? Homo sapien, Homo erectus, I mean, what do you want to say? Neanderthal, Cro-Magnon, Java man? I don't know. I mean, bro. I deal with reality at all times, and I don't do that, bro. I'm gonna tell you right now, bro, because like what happened with the kicked out of heaven right here, you see that it says from 700 to 1700. I know a lot of my people want to go 100,000 years ago, 50,000 years ago. Nigga can't tell me about 1348. Don't do it. Okay? I'm a historian, B, and I deal with reality. I don't do the fantasy talk. So I'm not going to go into an area, nor am I going to try to entertain a question that's not dealing with a reality sense. I'm not an archaeologist on that level, because the archaeologist would be trying to battle with that question. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what species is what of what. I know we're all humans. I know we all piss and shit and eat the same. I know we all have sex the same. I know we all drive cars the same. So, we've had different civilizations in the past. We've done different things in the past. We've all got different experiences due to the geographical regions that we were in, correlated to our past. Events have happened. Slavery has always been a paradigm of the human paradigm. There has always been slavery in every single civilization, in every single time period of the human existence. Okay? From the Polynesian islands, there was slavery conducted. Okay? Japan enslaved China. Okay? How far we got to go with this? Okay? Until we get this emotion. Yeah, no, bro. Because a lot of the stuff that the way we think is based off of this feminine emotion response of we were hurt during slavery. Boo hoo hoo. They stole from us.
Emotional.
You're right. In the ethereal law, as soon as you say somebody stole from you, you're saying that you're weak. You were too weak to protect it. So stop saying that. Like, bro, the way we operate. We got to, bro, that's why I wrote the kicked out of heaven. Because the kicked out of heaven is going to adjust a lot of the talk.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel. Let me just go through his questions so to knock this out the way. Is that cool? All right, that question's answered. Okay. Next question, he said, one day evolved into what is how called human beings. What the hell is this? One day evolved into what is they call human beings. I don't know if you want to answer that.
See? You see what I just did? I put up the mirror, bro. You start showing yourself your own insanity, bro. We're not there. We're not in a Neolithic age. No Negro has thoroughly studied Paleolithic age, Jurassic era, the Mesolithic age, none of that, okay? I've yet to hear any black scholars name 10 dinosaurs. Give me a break talking about caveman and homo.
All right.
Stop, bro. I'm bold enough to say, I got my balls are big enough to say I don't know. And I don't care to know because it's irrelevant. What is relevant is that I live in America. And America was developed off of old Europe, medieval, dark age times, period. That's important.
Yeah.
What a caveman drew in the caves of Italy is irrelevant. What a Yakub did and grafted a human is irrelevant. It has no hold. It has no power. And when we thoroughly look at it, the individuals who brought us that information were individuals who were emasculated and used that information for their masculine prowess and multiple females. So then that means there's a personal agenda here with your presentation of information. So then that means that your information automatically takes an atom bomb because you have an agenda. I have no agenda. I'm a historian. Okay? Like this, and those areas don't even really fit in history. They put that stuff in archaeology, which is a different format of history. Yeah, you got to have artifacts for that. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
When you're a historian and you're dealing with artifacts, you're dealing with antiques. Archaeologists deal with artifacts that are stone coming directly out of the mountain, come directly from the toothbrush. You dig what I'm saying? Like there's an age difference rank that goes on in between the two groups. You see? So, and we don't have any archaeologists amongst black scholars. The only one that I know of is Anthony T. Browder.
Yeah. From D.C. Yeah.
He has those answers. You know, a white man is a male to me, like everybody else. An Indian male, an African male, we're all humans, bro.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. All right. Well, like for the caller that inboxed me these questions, it's best you to call in and ask a question to the man personally. I'm not gonna go too.
No. Don't do that with nobody. I want to talk directly to you, and that's cool.
Okay. Yeah. No.
Yeah, you ain't got to open up the line. Maybe to the dude that spoke earlier, but besides that, I'm cool, bro. I don't want to get into it with nobody, no crazy shit.
Okay. Well, like I said, when I open the line for the next maybe 10 some minutes, we'll see if they have any further questions. But let me continue on. Okay. Now, one thing I find that it's not really surprised or shocking, but I noticed that in regards to the way how they live, during the time they live in crowded areas. And last time I checked, I don't think that people ever lived in crowded areas in any civilization besides European. I'm going to elaborate more on that. The living conditions.
Okay. No, that's good. You're right. Tribes really don't live in a crowded. The only real crowded conditions I've seen in tribes that is comparative to Europe is maybe in Adobe. And there are a lot of similarities in Native American tribal condition in old Europe and, what predates old Europe and their tribal conditions. There's a lot of comparisons. So that's why, you see white people talking about, I'm an Indian and all this other stuff today. Because there's a lot of relations in between the two groups. But besides that, the compiling of living on top of each other in apartment home structures and living in the air, living up high and stuff like that, I look at it as, and like I say in Volume 1 a lot, is the mixture of DNA, which assists, their collective thought. They have an unconscious suggestion where one European can think of some shit. If one European likes something, 100 can like something. If 100 Europeans if 100 white people like something, then 10,000 of them are gonna like something. If 10,000 of them like something, then 1 million of them are gonna like it. They support each other like that. They have this unconscious suggestion scenario, and I think that's based off of a solid mixture of DNA amongst them, and living in those type of conditions is a part of that mixture DNA. Is a part of that constant mixture. I believe this is also why they didn't want slaves buried in their cemeteries. I also believe this is why they do the white flight now. Is because they keep a constant mixture amongst themselves, which brings a base psychic communication where they don't even have to talk to each other and they just automatically move on the same principles. No matter the situation, no matter where they're at, because they've lived in these formats. They have, and due to the fact that they live in these type of formats, they end up, mixing all this shit. I mean, during the time period, they had this thing called Gardy Lou. So, you know, if you were living on the third floor and you throwing shit out your window, you know, you throw it lands right in front of your neighbor's door, and he's stepping in the shit, smelling shit, you know, and then the way the water systems was working, they was all drinking each other's piss, eating each other's shit, fucking each other's children. They was all fucking the same prostitutes in the brothels, you know. I mean, and if you want to go deep into it, like what I'm talking about in the third volume, you know, religion-sanctioned prostitutes. You know, you had Christian prostitutes that could only have sex with Christian men. Same with the Muslims, same with the Jews. They all had their own form of prostitutes. You know, and this prostitution that only Christian men could have sex with Christian prostitutes kept the mixture. It keeps the mixture flowing of the DNA. So they have the Caucasian collectively is one big brain. Period. And that one big brain is taking care of every single facet of reality because they're interested. They have interest. Black people aren't interested in shit. By majority rule. Yeah, by majority rule, we don't have interest. We're not interested in shit. I'm going to tell you straight up. Because if we were interested in each other, we'd have way more businesses. If we were interested in each other, our inventors wouldn't be in other people's laboratories.
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. We're not interested, bro. And we got to start dealing with the reality of what our position is in order for us to win the chess game. Otherwise, you're going to fail.
Okay.
We're not dealing with the reality. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Correct. And I always, like I said, I like to deal with reality as much as possible instead of dealing with illusions and, you know, all this other stuff people like to play around, you know. But one other thing that was in regards to the section dealing with animals, and you just said the brothel, but before we go with the brothel, the animal thing, usually with your people, when it comes to animals, it's something that they like, you know, like the dogs and stuff that cats they love, and like, you know, have pets. But I guess the way how you section on animals is a little different than animals as entirely. I'm not sure if you want to elaborate on how.
Okay, now. No, okay. The view on animals is very important, which we'll be coming across again in the third volume. And the reason being is because, once again, comparison and contrast with a multitude of different civilizations. I've never seen a civilization that has identified the animal activity and what the human does that is similar to the animal, and to divide from said activity to enforce humanism. Did you get that?
I think I get that. I think I saw it. Okay.
So, for instance, animals, they always stick their nose in each other's ass, right?
Yeah.
They always, and they might be doing that for checking the health or whatever the case. You know, they always stick a dog will run up to you and stick his nose in your crotch, right? Right? Okay? So what happens here is that, you know, they see that the animal can only have sex in the doggy style position. There is a favoritism towards the arse in the animal kingdom. So the Caucasian who does not want to be classified as an animal in the ethereal law space, he will go after the breast. And that's why white males are always saying they love tits all the time, publicly. Even though behind closed doors, they may be an anal fucking loving son of a bitch. But in light, in the streets, in the world, on Hollywood and on the movies, they're going to love the tits. And they're going to have sex face to face. Because only humans can have sex face to face. Only humans, bears, fish, and snakes can have sex face to face. So they enforce the humanism by dividing the activity of what animals do from their activity. So when it comes to, you know, a lot of the tribes or even ancient Egypt, you know, they put the animal on the head. Okay? They have the animal head. That's what these cats are doing. These cats are dividing from that and making the human superior. So, yeah, there's a bro. Exactly. Exactly. They playing with a whole nother level of science. We ain't nowhere near it, bro. We sitting up here talking about certain mixer. I like big butts. I can't not. All that shit is fucking us up. All that shit has us classified as animals in the ethereal law.
Okay.
Yeah, you better look at it right. That's right. All these rappers out here talking about I love ass and all this other shit, okay, has us being defined in the ethereal law as animals. The world looks at us as animals because we are doing animal activity and we expose it not knowing it. We don't even know we're doing it. Yeah.
Okay.
You know? Go ahead.
The one thing of the ass thing, I find it ironic that same companies these artists enough money, and I'm not sure selecting what should be played or what they should be put out there for consumers to listen, particularly not only Europeans, but all people in general. Because people, consume a lot of music. That's the point in regards to sexual images and degeneration of how people view sex. Now, the last 20 years. I think back then, music back then, when we talked, it was never like the way we talked about over 20 years.
You sort of cutting out a little bit, man. Can you turn your phone up a little bit, or I don't know what's going on. You was fading out a little bit.
You better now?
Yeah.
I would say like how we view music for the last almost 30 years now. I would say late 20, almost over 20 years. And how they use sex. Then back then, when how music was done, when people control music, was totally different now. I mean, even back then, back in the 90s, even we go way back, music was totally different now how we view sex. Before this music back in the 90s to the present, especially in terms of, the ass, like even the, what do you call it? What's the artist that sing that song about ass? I'm trying to remember his name. Mac-a-Lot?
Yeah, Sir Mix-a-Lot?
Yeah, Tim, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and Booty in them jeans, who is that? That was Genuine. There's so many niggas in there. There's so many songs out there about how fat your ass is and all this other shit. I'm telling you, bro. Like, that's where we're marked at right now. Until that game changes. And who knows if it'll change. Because it's a reality position. And they put the realities in place, and that's why they've been able to develop all of this shit that they've developed for this civilization, bro. It is. What'd you say now?
No, because I don't really listen too much what they call European, aka white people's music in regards to how they do music, and if I really sit there and analyze it, it's nothing compared to how we view music now, and how they view sex or anything and love and all that. The European in regards to how he makes music is an expression. The music is a form of expression, all right?
Yeah, so what are you talking about, like the heavy metal or the country?
I mean, either or. It could be either or. I'm not...
Okay, well, I can break them both down. Yeah, I mean, heavy metal is the sounds of the plague, and the country is the sounds of the loving peasant.
Oh, yep, correct, yep. I get that now. Yep, makes sense.
You like that? You like how I did that right there?
Yo, listen. That's the best way.
What?
All right, moving on. Next question.
Yo, hold on. I'm gonna say that the heavy metal is not only it's the sounds of the plague and the torture chamber, and the witchcraft, all of that shit. It's the sounds of both.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and the country music is the sounds of the loving peasant. Okay, the loving drunk peasant is country music.
Yep.
Yeah, and they don't have any origins to any. They don't have nothing heavy in any other music field, any other music genre. Well, okay, hold on. I will say opera, the opera and the orchestra. Opera and orchestra are the sounds of all of everything intertwined. But the base, the higher percentages of it is going to be plague and Catholicism. The Catholic religious wars is what that's the sounds that you're listening to when you're listening to orchestra or opera. You're listening to the sounds of the religious wars, the crusades, the plagues, the children. That's what you're hearing in the opera, in the orchestra.
Okay.
Beethoven and all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Beethoven was what I hear a melanated man or mixed man. I'm saying that.
Yes, this is very true.
Yeah.
Beethoven is a dark-skinned supposed Moor, but it is definite fact that Beethoven's teacher was 1,000% Moor. I forgot his name, but yeah.
Okay. And I don't think you mentioned him on the book, but probably in the future if you write.
Right. I didn't talk about orchestra. I didn't talk about the orchestra and classic music because that was late 1700s when that came in the door. That
I
wasn't.
think I remember the time. Yeah.
That was like late 1700s, 1800s when that music started coming in.
Yeah. That makes more sense. Okay. All right. For commercial, so that everybody know, this is the subject matter titled Chaos Reign presents Kicked Out of Heaven with my guest, Keenan Booker. The number to call in tonight is 515-605-9783, 515-605-9783. Press 1 if you have a comment or question for my guest tonight. Now, you mentioned about the brothel, and I remember watching a TV series titled The Arrow. I'm not sure if you ever watched that.
The what? The Arrow?
Yeah, The Arrow.
Okay, come on. No, I haven't seen it or heard about it, so you got to do some explanation. Give it to me.
The Arrow is the Green Arrow comic book turned into a TV series that like all the DC universe like TV shows like The Flash, Supergirl, etc. The Arrow is one of the longest right now. One of the first wave of DC series, and it's one of the most well-watched series. It goes in on a character named Oliver Queen, who is a billionaire that gone through a traumatic experience after his father killed himself in an island, which what really did was kill both of them because they were set by I guess a man named Merlin. I think Merlin magician, which is Oliver Queen's father's best friend, and the one that slept with his wife, Oliver's father's wife, and produced one of Merlin's one of his children, which is called Thea, the daughter of Merlin, which he didn't know until I think season 2 or 3, I can't remember. But the point of it is he went through an experience surviving as an adult male, learning how to shoot the arrows, train, learn hand-to-hand combat, travel across the world, gaining skill and knowledge of how to be a more, I would say, sophisticated killer. And throughout his travels, he entered an area in Russia where he saved one of his friends from the island called Yin, which means purgatory in Mandarin. And his friend from Russia told him if he wants to get into his organization, he has to get to the brothel. Now, when I saw the brothel, it showed Europeans congregating like a brotherhood, drinking liquor, and doing I guess criminal acts. And that's how I view. Hold on. How far are you in the book? I'm only at 125 pages.
But so you're in the torture section, huh?
I didn't get to it. We're gonna talk about that at the end.
No, because I heard you use that criminal act, and you hit me. That is hardcore Dark Age language.
Okay. I'm sorry.
You see how smooth it entered into your soul, brother. you automatically let it come out your mouth. You said criminal act. You are doing the unmentionable vice. You are filled with naught. Yo, the way the niggas talk is fucking crazy. Yo. But go ahead though, man. You just really messed me up when you said that. I heard you say that criminal act like that. But go ahead though.
Yeah, well, this happens when you read enough and you open your mind. Your language.
Yeah. But go ahead though.
Yeah. So that's how I view the brothel. But from what you've written so far, from your own research, it says otherwise. So I'm not sure if you want to elaborate more on the brothel.
On the brothel? Now, the brothel basically is a female jail. Let's be for real. Okay? Okay? Well, this is what it is. All civilizations, they put the female with the female. You know, the man don't want nothing to do with the shit. Okay? Because we got to build the houses out here. We got to tend about these horses. You know, so you going to churn some butter. You going to make a basket, motherfucker. I'm going to be over here doing the big bite shit. We got to go out here and hunt some animals, nigga. Okay? And that was the case. So, medieval civilization, we're dealing with city development. We're in the city by majority rule. And then you have the village, which is where a villain comes from, the word villain. And I'm glad that you started this whole your statement with the superhero mechanism. Because all superheroes... See, us as indigenous people, we want to say, oh, they took it from our gods and the mythology and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to tell you right now, I personally, which I can't say, I can lean on this theory by 1,000%, but I do have an intuition in a sense that the powers that you see from these Marvel comic and these superhero characters actually come from the saints of Catholicism and Christianity. Christianity does have saints. We've never been told this in America, yes, and Catholicism has saints. These saints have been filtered to you, I do believe, through the superheroes. Okay? Now, being a superhero coming out of the brothel, I don't know about that. But what that's really stating is that the collection of energy is inside the woman. Like I say in my book, Real Nigga Etiquette, the culture of a people is inside the vagina of a woman, of their women.
Okay.
You know?
I agree. Well, I think
right. The culture of the people is inside the vagina of the women. So you have to go to the women. And what you also have to understand is that Europe was on a constant flow. So the prostitutes always traveled. The knights were always traveling. Crusaders were always traveling. The flagellants were always traveling. The vagabonds were always traveling. The lepers were always traveling. Those who were in the religions, who were part of the Carmelite, the friars, or whatever the case, the Benedicts, they were traveling when they went on their pilgrimages to Bethlehem. They'd walk for 1,000 miles through the snow to go see Jesus' manger. Okay? Yeah, bro, like this is real. So there was a constant travel flow with the brothel. The little girls when the little girls got around the age of 12, if, say you're a villain in the woods, you're a villain in the village, you're a cuckold, you have your daughter, you want your daughter in the city, you need to find somebody who is going to be, a teacher. You want your child, so the girls who would be They'd be getting the yarn or weaving the blankets, weaving yarn and things of that nature. They'd have to work their positions. Usually girls would have to go to the castle. Sometimes castles would employ people up to 1,000 people. Sometimes the castle would be employed from anywhere from 10 people all the way to 1,000 people. It depends on the finances of the economy at that time and how the king was moving, you know, and so sometimes the little girls of the village or the city could get shoved up in that lane. But usually at around like 12 years old, which boys might leave at like 8 or 10, you know, the girls might hang around a little bit longer. If they're not helping the family on the farm, they get lost into the city. They will turn into a highway robber. And they'll go join a gang of a brotherhood, and they'll be out there banging just like the men will be banging, if they don't get caught up into it. And if they're banging too hard and they get caught up, they'll get sent to the brothel. You know, because the brothel was a jail for women. Let's be very clear. The brothel was a jail for women. You know, and then, yeah, right, because the girls who would get turned into prostitutes slowly but surely through a comforting route, it would be done through the bathhouses. Those girls would turn into the servants at bathhouses first. And then over time, because, see, when you go to the bathhouse, you sit up in the bathhouse, you sit up in the wood tub with the water for 3-4 hours. These fuckers are sitting in the fucking water, playing violin, eating food, drinking liquor, playing games, playing cards, playing dice, all sitting in the water. And they got servants around, and then you got beds around in the room, and everybody is down with the hanky-panky. And they all fucking, and they be drinking the water, too, that they sleeping, that they bathing in, you know? So once again, when it goes back to that DNA mixture, they got a solid cord. You know, they drink each other bath water, baby.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah, all that's documented up in the book. So the brothels, they had the girls up in there by 12, 15, and they'll work that cunt until fucking 30. You know, and then when they 30 years old, they kick your ass out the brothel. We don't want no ugly broads in the fucking city, in our whorehouses. And that was law on the books. That was law on the books. We do not want an ugly bitch in the motherfucking whorehouse. We want young, divine cunt. You get these fucking hags out of here. 30 years old, you're out of here. Okay? And if you haven't married, if you ain't found a John to love on you, and if you don't got several Johns to take care of you at the age of 30, because a woman in the city in medieval times, a woman in the city had an immediate responsibility to be owned by a man or had to be related to a man, some man somewhere. You was a owned property. Okay, so when she hit 30 years old, the city, if she was maybe an ugly hoe, and she wasn't pleasant during her 20 years, she didn't gain no cock to love her, so the city will marry her off to a bum. The city will get some money together and marry her off to an indigent, to a hunchbacker. Okay. And that was your picture.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, and it's funny that, even if think that European women would be subjugating themselves like that back in them time. But, as we know, being around them and how they treat women, even now, I mean, it makes sense that they've always been doing this for centuries,
Well, the way they treat women now, you don't even see it. Because they play the game correct, right? You see, when white males marry women, or just when any male marry women now, because we're all underneath Western civilization and we all got European names. So, when we marry women, okay, guess what? There's nothing on the books that says there's a mandate for love and there's a mandate for sex and there's a mandate that you have to like each other. None of that is stated inside the guise of marriage. It is stated that I have to take care of your ass whether you sick or die or whatever the fuck. Okay? So, the white boy understands that because it's a contract. So he goes to where it's mandated, and that's either a prostitute or the strip club. He'll go to the strip club, and these women are paid to make me feel good. Do what you're paid for. Okay? Show me some real energy. Show me some real hunger. That's what I want. The motherfucking wife ain't hungry about shit. She done seen the dick. She done popped out baby. She's tired. Hag. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, you crackers got it cold, don't they, nigga? Yo, they do it cold, bro. That's what it is.
You know, funny thing about it, when I read that section, it made me feel said, damn, you're an object, man. You know what I'm saying? This is your worth, man. And say, you know, if our people just really understand new, man. I mean, yeah, but you know, the funny thing with now in society now, because if you, I know you followed that, they are now giving this women's rights and power to women. And I feel say if they give this to you, they could easily take it away. Because throughout the history, you were objects. So if they're doing something.
Oh, yeah, right. Now, and I'm with the interview real quick. Not only European history, every single people, even African, okay? When the European walked up down into Africa and said, oh, you niggas up here, 100 wives? What is this? You got 100 wives and 50 concubines. Oh, the nigga likes problems. Negroes. I said, why would you want the problem? The problem gets pregnant, nigga. Okay, they complain. What the fuck you want? 150 of these motherfuckers low. Yo, me. What is it now?
All right, let me take it easy now. Let me move on. I'm listening to this line right now. All right, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna open one line and I'm gonna ask continued questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, let me open this one line. 425. Who's this? 425. 425 going once. 425 going twice. Oh, I'll put you back on mute. You're not ready. All right. Well, let me continue with my questions.
Yeah, go ahead. You hitting me right now. Come on.
I swear, this is getting good, man. I mean, I've done enough shows, but this has been entertainment. I'm learning some shit right here. You know, and I haven't gone through halfway the book yet. I'm already liking this already, man.
No, hey, bro, I got to know that. Hey, pat yourself on the back. Anybody who's in the show listening right now that has read this book, pat yourself on the back, because I did not know it was going to show up looking like no telephone book, my nigga. And you niggas done ate this motherfucker down like Thanksgiving dinner, and I got to say, hey, I got some geniuses out of this motherfucker. I ain't waste my time writing it. You dig what I'm saying? Like,
never anything a waste of time when a black man, black woman sets their mind and do something. You know what I'm saying? When you present something and you work hard and you present, you did it for a reason. And you might not see the fruits of the labor, but in time you will see the results. I mean, I give this book a few years. They're gonna be talking about this book like every other book. You know what I'm saying?
Bro. Let me tell you something. I knew when I wrote that book that whoever reads that book, Godzilla. You are King Kong, and there's no way around it. There's no way around it. If you read that book from cover to cover, especially all 3 volumes, and volume 2 is the heavy beast. Volume 2. I'm waiting to see somebody read volume 2 and holler at me. Ain't nobody hollered at me about volume 2 yet. Volume 2 is the sit down. The ghost armies and all the devil stuff that's up in there. Lord have mercy. You know.
Well, like anything, Keenan, you're gonna come back, and I'm gonna break down every volume. So when it's said, you know what I'm saying, when people get a chance to read or not, they will get a keen idea of this book. You know.
Right.
I tell people this is the first volume that the show's only focus on. But he will be back in future shows. I hope maybe sometime before the middle of summer I might bring back for volume 2. I'm gonna probably dove in that book too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, take your time, bro. Take your time. But come on, hit me with some questions. I'm ready for something.
All right. Now, one thing besides the brothel on the role of women in the brothel, the section deals specific on prostitution. Yeah. I don't know if you want to go in about that prostitution in Europe. And where
okay. Did you have a specific question in that area real quick?
Well, when I mean by prostitution, I mean like in general, like I'm not familiar with every other culture, but when we look at here in America, in regards to prostitution, because it is a business that is deemed here that is illegal to certain states. I'm not sure of prostitution, but I think in this book it deals with it's a way of life. So I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, yeah, I like the way. Okay, that was good that you said that. That was okay. That was good. But let's examine that. You said it's a way of life. Like I said, it's better, man. I mean, that's the way. I mean, it's dog. Let me tell you something. You have to go through a lot of experiences to get to where these cats are at. And that's described in the weather section. Now the thing about it is that, man, prostitution, man, has supposedly always been here. It's supposedly the oldest, profession underneath the sun. Now we have to understand that me, myself, and I have pimped myself, and we ain't talking about no bullshit game. We talking about real 2 o'clock in the morning pimping, okay? 3 o'clock in the morning, okay? We talking about real shit. So I understand the whole system of what's going on when we talk about prostitution. Now, we have to understand that, there's so many ways to break down. I'm not even trying to justify it because it's somebody else's culture, but I just have to break down the reality to it. When you break down the reality to it, there are more women on the planet than men. Okay? When you break down to the reality of it, humans are a polygamous people, a polygamous species, shall I say, when we talk about mammalism. But socially, we enforce monogamy. Okay? Now, we have to understand that sex, when we look at sex, we have to understand that sex is a drug. Why is sex a drug? Sex is a drug because it creates a euphoria. Anything that creates a euphoria in the human mind, in the human continent, is considered a drug, right? It's anything from gasoline, the motherfucking smoking weed, to a cigarette. Euphoria, it is a drug. It is foreign, okay? But guess what? The drug of sex is designed with inside your character, and you are born with that desire. If this desire is not met, then guess what? We have to go to a system where we can get it met. And we can get it met by the dollar bill. So you would do what you were paid for. And this is where our fairy prostitute comes in. This is where the prostitute, we don't need to know her name. We don't need to ask a question. She provides the fantasy. She does the things that the wife will not do. Okay? Because the wife is disgruntled. The wife's tits points to her toes. She has breastfed the children. She has you weren't supposed to laugh right there, nigga. But she has fed the children. She is a nag. She is hag. Okay, that is what has happened here. Okay, the witch. Okay, that's the wife at home. You need the fairy. You want the fairy to come in and flutter around your head. You want to flutter. You want to whisper in your ear. You want to tap the wand. Okay, and the orgasm is achieved, and that's what you want. And that is what the prostitute is. The prostitute is the nymph. She is the nympho. She is the fairy. She is unknown. Her name is unknown. I don't need to know her name. And she comes and she pleases me for everything that I need to do. Whatever I want my toes sucked, she sucks my toes. You understand? And that's what the prostitute does. You do what you were paid for. Because I don't pay my wife. And my wife is a hag who complains. The Al Bundy, bro. brother. The Homer Simpson. You have seen these prototypes your entire life. Yes, you have. You didn't know that's what you were looking at.
Hey, you know, funny thing.
Yeah, I hope y'all niggas like this reality, nigga.
I mean, shit. Yo, I ain't gonna lie. This game too real, man. I feel like cutting off the air right now, man. I'm about to take this.
Yo, that's the truth to it, B. That's where we at, bro. You know, I mean, I love women, and that's the only way I know so much about a woman. You dig what I'm saying? Is because I love them like I do. But, hey, man, that's just what the game is, man. The prostitute, man, they needed it. They needed the prostitute because they had a lot of erectile dysfunction. And like I said earlier, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Come on, tell me.
No, because, you know, if they're not getting much play at them times, and like I said, she's nagging and do all this, I mean, it's going to make the dick go.
Okay. Let me battle what you just said. They're not getting much play. They were. Medieval society is the most social sexual society I've ever seen in my life. You have to understand that a lot of those big dresses that you saw during, like, when you look in the slavery times of the Victorian age, and they had the dresses with the big butts, they had those dresses with the cages underneath them also in Europe, but they had no tops. It was known in Europe for all women to have their breasts out at all times. You know, their clothes were designed where women's breasts were sticking out of the clothes at all times. Their social structure was overt sexual, okay, on a lot of different levels. Yeah, it was overt sexual. Like, for instance, the first form of strippers were girls who would lay around on blankets in front of churches. They were a form of beggars, and they would just roll on the ground butt naked, and they would put something in their mouth to make them foam at the mouth, and, you know, and people would give them alms, you know, and when they would give them alms, they would, you know, say, I'd come by your house later and give you a good old time, you know, and some of the times the girls would walk around singing. They would sing very bawdy, raunchy songs talking about what they would do to your dick or what they would do during sex, you know, and that's how the prostitutes would sing. The prostitutes would be walking on the streets butt naked, and a lot of women felt competition with this for the women that weren't prostitutes, so they had to make sure that their breasts were up, and they had to make sure that their whole entire beauty stature was high rate, because they were always battling the prostitutes that were standing on the corner, and they'd be walking around butt naked sometimes. You know, in some cities, they would make them wear a little yellow star like you saw with the Jews during World War II, but the Jews would always be wearing yellow too during those times, and they got outlawed outside of the city. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes if weather would hit a city too hard, they would think it would be God afflicting them because they have Jews and Muslims in their city and they've been doing too much of the devil's work in the city. So they would shut down all the dice making and all the card making and all the devil's arts. You know. So prostitution was needed, and prostitution will always be needed in every single civilization. Because you got disagreeable women that don't want to be pleasurable. And there are women who do want to be pleasurable, but the deeper science is that what males don't understand is that you have to force a woman to be a woman. And that, in essence, makes her love being a woman.
That is very sad. That's sad.
Yeah, it is sad, but it's a part of the whole mechanism of being tied to you.
Okay.
Yeah. You see that part? Exactly. It's a part of the whole mechanism of them being tied to you. And them feeling like, oh, you're my only one and all that other shit.
I'm trying to get a caller. One moment.
Yeah, y'all can play games. If you want to learn how to type, go ahead. If y'all want to play games, go ahead. Did you get what's the name? The caller? You there? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Okay. One of my callers got a question. Go ahead.
Okay, come on, shoot me.
Can you hear me, Jawa? Hello?
Yeah. I wanted to ask the atheist, what are the do's and don'ts, the regular do's and don'ts of an atheist? What do they congregate? Do they got some type of regular order, regular way they do things? How about marriage? What are the guidelines for an atheist? So they just do what they want.
Of an atheist?
What's right and wrong? What's
You're asking me about an atheist?
Yeah.
There's no group. Just do whatever you want to. I mean, we didn't. There's no like a specific order, nothing that you got to do.
You know what you want to do.
I mean, okay, let's look it up. I'm looking it up on the wiki right now. Let's see what the wiki says. Atheism is, in the broadest sense, the absence of belief in the existence of deities. Less broadly, atheism is the rejection of belief that any deities exist. In an even narrower sense, atheism is specifically the position that there are no deities. Atheism is contrasted with theism, which in its most general form is the belief that at least one deity exists. So you don't believe any deities exist, so then there's nothing really to do. Watch TV, eat a burger, live life. Yeah, it's gods that require you to do something. Atheism don't require you to do anything. They don't believe in shit.
Interesting. I didn't even look at the definition.
Yeah, atheism has no law. Come here, pretty girl, you gonna get it tonight. Atheism has no law, bro. We do whatever the fuck we want to, I guess so. See, look, it says right here. Arguments for atheism range from the philosophical to social and historical approaches. Rationales for not believing in deities include arguments that there is a lack of empirical evidence, the problem of evil, the argument from inconsistent revelations, the rejection of concepts that cannot be falsified, and the argument from non-belief. So, basically it's saying,
What dictionary is that? Is that a dictionary? Is that like...
No, that's the wiki.
Hey, Gary.
Wikipedia.
Keenan and Gary. But, Gary, listen, you know that I'm an atheist, and I read the exact same definition that Keenan just read every time somebody question me about being a non-believer. I mean, I don't know what the confusion is. It's the denial of any God.
But I
didn't really go and like really meditate. I just said, okay, that's I didn't really like meditate the whole entire definition. I didn't really look at the definition to tell you, Tyron. I just hear it. I never really researched it. I didn't really want to waste time with it, but I might have to now just to make sure to get more clear. So here. All right.
Well, what was the caller saying? What was the caller saying? The guy that you had the question that had the question.
I asked specifically, what are the do's and don'ts? What are the rights and wrongs of an atheist when it comes down to...
Hey, well, if you think about concepts, brother, listen to what I'm saying. If you think about concepts, right, this concept is just denying the existence of any deities. There's no Buddha, there's no Hindu God, there's no Christian God, there's no Indian God. I deny all gods, right? So whenever you asking about tenets, do's and don'ts, the only belief systems that have do's and don'ts is the ones that believe in these deities, because those deities set forth y'all rules. For instance, in Christianity, y'all rule book is the Bible. There is no book in not believing. You get it? So you can't put an atheist side by side with a believer and actually say, okay, well, the believer has rules, so what is the rules for the non-believer? Because it don't exist. You get it now?
I hear what you're saying, but so you have no basis for wrong or right. You just do whatever.
No, that's not. No, that's not. I get what you're saying because the believers get their moralities from their religious tenets, right? But with me as a human being, I know morality comes from being right or wrong. I wouldn't want nobody to hit me upside the head with a rock, so I'm not going to hit anybody else upside the head with a rock. I know it's wrong to do certain things, and I know what's right. You see what I'm saying? My morality don't come. Morality don't come from a book. My morality comes from being a human and knowing right from wrong.
Okay, so what makes you know what's right from wrong? If you said that really, you say ain't no God can tell.
Hey, hold on. This is how you know right from wrong. Pain or no pain.
There you go. I was getting ready to get.
If it causes pain, then it's wrong. Right. If it doesn't cause pain, then it's right.
Yeah, I was getting ready to give you an example. I want to stick my hand into a burning stove. I know that would hurt me. So I know it's wrong to stick my hand into a burning stove. You get what I'm saying, brother?
Oh, okay. That's a burning stove. That's some common sense obviousness. But I'm talking about wrong against somebody else.
Okay,
where's your God?
Relationship. In a relationship, right? If I'm in a relationship with a woman, if I'm in a relationship with a woman, and me and my girlfriend is just having a good old relationship, I know good and well if I seen her cheating on me, then that would hurt me, right? So me as a human, I know not to cheat on her because I would hurt her.
Hold on. You say ain't no rules. How you know she cheating? How would you judge cheating if there's no rules? I mean, y'all don't got no spiritual God or no moral system. So what you mean cheating? How do you explain cheating to you an atheist and you have no rules?
Hold on. Rules have nothing to do with a God. You have a cultural structure that you were built with, that you were born into. Your culture doesn't have anything to do with a God. If you want to add gods to your culture, then that's a different paradigm. You see?
Right. And we
have a cultural litigation on how your social works, and what your social is going to be based off of is male and female communication.
Right, and Carla, humans have emotions, right? Well, I'm trying. You ask, how do I know if it's right or wrong? Humans have emotions, so you know what upsets you, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel happy, so you have these emotions. So you don't want to try to invoke those emotions if it making other people feel bad. We don't need no book to tell us that we feel sad or we feel happy. You get what I'm saying? So you know that you don't want to try to make somebody feel like you don't want to feel. You don't need no God to tell you that.
Hold on. But even in that, a person may feel bad or their emotions may be hurt or whatever. That don't mean that the person that so-called hurt their emotions or hurt their feelings was wrong. So again, where is your basis? I don't get it. You just all over the place with whatever. Okay, this is where it comes up. We do this, but what is the concrete way atheists move?
Well,
I want to know. Do you have a specific?
I'm gonna try to address it directly.
Oh, hold on. Atheists moves on their own decision making.
And I was trying to do. We.
Hold on. Let me show you something. No. I see where he's getting. I don't need a basis to move. I know how to think. I have my own mind. I don't need nobody else to tell me shit.
I hear you saying all that, but I got a mind too. So again.
Okay then. So then, what's the problem?
Hold on. You living with your mind on the same time with everybody else, but you say you're an atheist, so you have no moral system, right?
Hold on. When did I say that?
Well, that's what he said. He said.
Well, I know I am. I said that. I'm separate from Keenan. I don't identify.
This show isn't an atheist show. So an atheist conversation needs to be taken on at a different time.
What?
Yeah. The atheist conversation needs to be taken on at another time because the title of the show has nothing to do with atheism. I have said nothing about atheism. So an atheism question doesn't even need to be asked during this conversation, during this show.
Okay, the topic is about European.
Yeah, it's about European history.
Okay. As far as I'm concerned, atheism is a European concept.
Pertaining to what time period? That would be America, right? That's not old Europe.
I don't know which time period, but I know it's got something to do with honkies.
Okay, well, you don't know that is an American concept. That is not an old Europe medieval concept. Atheism is nowhere found in old Europe or medieval times.
Okay, well,
so this conversation needs to be taken on in a different show.
That one. Yeah. I'm gonna try because I think I see another crowd raise their hand up. You can stay online or you can put on mute. I'm not sure how you want to do it. I gotta move on. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, that's cool, man.
All right, cool. All right. So you can stay online. Let's see what else. And let me repeat again. The comment for tonight's show is 515-605-9783. Or repeat 515-605-9783. Wait, hold on. Wait, here's Justice. Okay. Actually, Keenan, we have a new caller. You want me to ask?
Okay, go ahead, bring them in. If they're on subject, if they're not on subject, we're going to cut it real short.
Okay, all right. Next caller. Move down. I got echo. I don't like echo. All one. Now, who's this? Is?
Yeah, what's up, man? This is Facts. How you doing?
I know Facts. You got any comment questions tonight? Subject matter with my guest, Keena Booker?
Yeah, I got a comment. I got a question. I'm going to hang right on up. Yeah, it's a great show, man. It's something different from hearing. You know, it's about a lot of history. And, you know, knowing all types of history. I just listened for the last, 15 minutes or so. Well, no, about half an hour. And I believe in the medieval times is something interesting. During the Black Plague, people would crucify themselves and scar themselves with Jesus Christ. And
yes.
They always believed in, right. And when the men scarred themselves and crucified themselves, they didn't die. They whipped themselves bloody, and they were stars of their community. The young girls would have sex with them because they thought they were bravery. And once again, when people think medieval, they're thinking ignorant. You can't be thinking scientific. You're still believing in those mortal gods, the types of things, the weather, and, well, a lot of Christianity was going on and torture and things of that nature. But it's something, man. But I have a question. You made a statement, and I want you to try to clarify yourself. You said that a man has to make a woman be a woman. Are you talking about now, or you're referring back to the Middle Ages? Because basically they were really loose back then.
Okay. This is good. You got some more you want to say? Come on, give it to me.
No, go ahead, man. I'm listening to you.
Here we go. Okay. Now, before I go on the answer, I want to clarify what he stated, because what he was talking about was the flagellants that would serve their own penance, and it is very true, and it is documented in Volume 2 that the flagellants would beat themselves till blood was squirting everywhere, and the women would get overpassioned by this blood and by this energy and the passion that the men were exhibiting, and they would have an orgy right there in the market. Okay, right. Okay, so now to further go in on what he was saying now, when a woman wants a man to bring the woman out of the woman, a woman is going to test you to see how much of a Neanderthal you are. A woman doesn't want you to listen to her. Women know that they're confused. So when you submit to what they state, they know you're weak. And that's when they're going to start doing that cuckoldry shit on you and start pulling all types of other shit on you. Okay? When you make a woman act in the present format, that is you pulling the woman out of the woman, which in essence, to her, it shows that you love her because you have applied force. for her to act in a different format than what she has exhibited. And when you make her do that, then she falls in love with you. And that's the submission space. The submission space, you got to go through like 2-3 layers to get to the submission space, to get to the voluntary submission space out of a woman. There is a space in all women, regardless of race, because regardless of race and age, the love of women are all it's the same. Okay? The love of woman is the same. I don't care about race, age, size, height, none of that shit. It's all the fucking same. They're going to get wide-eyed, and they're going to chase you down, and they're going to want to be in your mixture at all times. And that's only if you allow them and then also enforce their chores that needs to be done in order for your maintenance. Because that's only if you put yourself in the position of God and King and then enforce that you are God and King. And then when they do that, they will lotion your ankles, nigga. What the fuck you talking about? I done had the finest women do the most wildest shit for me. Put thousands in my pocket, the whole yarn. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's just the reality to it. You have to pull the woman out of the woman. You know what I'm saying? You have to be the barbarian. You know? I throw my dishes in the... Huh?
Yeah. I just want to add another thing.
A woman ain't finna respect no nigga raised by their mama and cleaning up every goddamn thing in the house, bro. Some women like that, the women that like that are lazy motherfuckers, man. A woman ain't gonna keep her size and her shape. You let her sit on her ass all the time. She got to be moving.
Now, how do you explain the paradox when you say that the culture comes from the woman's vagina? When you say that, the culture, it still rules. Religion comes out of the culture. It's all, all mixed together. We try to separate them, but if we look at it, it's all mixed together. How can you, say that, if you got to put in a place, she does what the man says, but then she dictates the culture? Do you see the paradox?
No. She doesn't dictate the culture. I said that's where the culture sits.
You said shift.
Sits. That's where the culture sits. Like the throne, that's where the culture is. The juice, it's in the cut. Everybody's born out of her. The females and the males are born out of the woman.
From that, right? So what you're saying, it is that means it derives from her. So I understand. I'm just trying to get your clarification. So
no, what I'm saying is like when she accepts you in her vagina, then you are invited into the entirety of the culture.
Okay.
Is that a better way for me to put it? Because the culture comes out of her because she has to. Right, because she gives birth to the female and she gives birth to the male. So what we have to understand is that true masculinity does not deal with any form of childishness. Therefore, we don't communicate with children. So when children are up until about the ages of 5 to 7, that's when we take on the boys, is after they hit around 7, 9 years old, that's when we take them on and be like, okay, now you follow the ways of the man. But in beginning stages, they learn everything from the woman, okay? And these are the mannerisms and the root social, cultural mechanisms on how to treat each other, on how to treat other people, common courtesy, and all of those things come out of the woman being taught directly to the daughter and the son. So you have to understand that she has a duality teaching. The male doesn't have a duality teaching because the male is only going to teach the boy by 100% and maybe teach the female a little bit, maybe about 25 to 40%, only so she knows what to look for in the male that she chooses on. But by majority rule, the male ain't teaching the female, the daughter, you see? But the mother had 100% hold on them on both male and female when they were infants. So when I say that the culture is sitting inside the vagina, I'm talking about the root mechanisms because she's teaching the children on the unconscious levels. And that's going to be the base understanding that those children will have even when they're adults, male and female. There is going to be their social mechanisms and their common courtesy. how they hold their fork when they're eating dinner, you know, all of that type of stuff is taught by the mother before the ages of 7. So when I say the culture sits inside the woman's vagina, that's what I mean. And when you have sex with the woman, then she has accepted you inside all realms of her culture. That's like a knighting, basically. Okay? Especially if you've gotten so deep into her understanding where you'll have sex with her on her period. And you get the blood out of her. Then it's a whole different level. Then you've really been knighted.
Now you're talking about the women of the Middle Ages. I'm listening.
Oh no, I'm talking about this is base law women. Period. This ain't got nothing to do with Middle Ages. You could do this right now.
Well, no, I mean, what you're saying is kind of. It's not. It's for the majority of the people. It's just not really. Now maybe religious countries, maybe Iran, but the Western civilization countries, it's not like that mostly. Most of women are working. I mean, even in the Hispanic community, black African-American people, our people have always worked. African people, some Africans build huts. Women have always worked, and the culture comes from the man and I guess both, but now with different, the way the families are structured, it's just a little bit different. I think they get their marriages from both father and, father's side, or things of that nature. If the father's in his life. In their lives or what have you. But that's it, brother. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
I got to take next caller. All right, let me open another caller because I think another person has a question, Keenan. All once, may I ask who this is?
Black Power, Gary. What's the business?
What's up, mama's boy? Hey, I told you I came in and I was going to do this type of show. I was go all F to find this person, and you see I did. So you got any questions for
really no question, just to comment, Brother Keenan. I appreciate the hard work you did. I love the books. They go hard in the bitch. And I'm with you. 10,000. Black power to you. Keep up the good work. And do you have any other aspects coming up in the future?
Okay, well, I got Volume 3 coming up, and I got the Money Religion album coming up, and that's about it for right now. And I'm about to start hitting these streets nasty, man. Once I'm done with these products, man, and these projects, I'm about to shut the door and show y'all a whole new phase.
Well, make sure you come on down to the Pan-African Connection in the D, man.
What, in Dallas?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I got people out there.
Yeah, it's good family down here. Come on, see us.
But let me know, set it up. Y'all was doing lectures out there heavy last year, man. Set it up. I'll come out there. I don't got no problem. I got a free schedule.
That's a bet.
Yeah, so just hit me up. My info is everywhere across the internet, man. I'll come out there and do a lecture. We should be able to get some real big money out this kicked out of heaven.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I know where you're at, though. I mean, I kind of, I ain't patting myself on the back, but I kind of introduced your work to the family over here.
What family?
Yeah, over here at T.R.S. Where you at?
Oh, okay.
Keenan, disclaimer, Mama's Boy is one that brought out and read a section of the book and told everybody about your book. That's why I first heard about your book. Mama's Boy.
Oh, okay. Appreciate it.
This is the man right here. This is the man right here.
It ain't shit.
Yeah, appreciate that, man.
It's a real important book. I mean, once you start reading their history, I mean, you kind of start putting shit together, nursery rhymes, Mother Goose stories. You be like, God damn, once you start reading in that book and learning their history, it don't quite seem so out of the ordinary when you see how shitty they treat us. Hell, they was treating themselves shitty, selling their kids. I mean, goddamn. So how you think they're gonna act when they decide to wage war on us?
Well, I mean, ain't nobody waging war. They've already waged enough war. I mean, to be honest, bro. I mean, like when you dog, they've been through thousands of wars. They're tired of all of that shit. You best believe it. You know, because even when it comes to epigenetics, they live in a different geographical position than what they did in Europe. So what we may be seeing over here may be a whole different white boy. It may be a new form of white boy, because you gotta understand.
I agree with that part.
Everything that's documented up in that kicked out of heaven is out of Europe, not America. Exactly. Even though I can show you which cases, I can write a whole book about which cases in America. I got several of them. It happened all up in Massachusetts, Boston, all types of shit. New York, you know, down south, you know. As a matter of fact, America had hardcore witchcraft going on until about the 1940s. Until World War II, World War I, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, and all that shit destroyed all the information, all the American occult information on how to protect yourself from vampires and witches and the like. You know? As a matter of fact, I can even go deeper to say that there's law written on many state books that schoolboy doctors, doctor apprentices can snatch women up after 10 o'clock, legally. They're allowed so many bodies a year. After 8, 10 o'clock when the sun falls. So if you're a little girly outside, you get snatched up. And you end up on the doctor's table getting dissected. Yeah, it's legalized. Okay. That shit is legalized here in America in several states. It's written on the books. So when they be talking about all these missing people and all that shit, the spirituality to that missing people shit, those people will never be found because it's written, it's allowed by ethereal law for them to be snatched up. And ethereal law is done by a collective agreement. So as long as a certain amount of people agree upon that shit, it's going to go down. Yeah. And that's just cracking. So.
Okay.
Well, I really appreciate you, Black.
Appreciate that, man. Bro, hit me up, man. Hey, let's set up the lecture, man. Let's do the Dallas, man.
I was there. I see what I can do.
Let me know.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Marvin.
Ain't shit.
Next caller, 864. Who's this? Is this Shabazz? 864?
Yeah, this your brother E. Carney. What's going on, family? What's up?
Black Power, Black Power.
Black Power, brother.
Yeah.
I'm just tuning in, really. But you know, brother, from what I understand, your work is incredible. You actually do the due diligence. You actually do the research, things of that nature. Even when we're talking about, and what I wanted to ask you is, a lot of black people sometimes want to think, or seem to think that we are the same as the European. And, you know, and from what I understand, you kind of go historical in documentation and kind of like cataloging who this European is. When we talk about...
Sorry about that.
Like this, when we talk about a lot of this sick behavior that we see within, you know, even in our world now, a lot of our people, because I think I saw Dr. Mayat, and, you know, sometimes on this show, a lot of times, sometimes our people, we can kind of be evasive to a lot of the warped patterns of thinking in which we have gravitated to, or we have actually taken from the European. My question to you is it actually that we can go back in history and catalog and just look at how demented, how sick and twisted the European is in particular. When you're talking about having sex with children, when you're talking about raping people, when you're talking about homosexuality, is this spawned from the same mentality, you know, that basically seeks to do a lot of this sick behavior and whatever you call it? Is it basically they're about the same, you know, when these crackers go out there and fuck dogs, when they go out there and fuck dead people, when they go out there and do all this crazy?
That's the thing, man. You're looking at the effects. You're not asking yourself what's causing them to act like that. You see, and that's where we mess up. If we're gonna be really about some intelligence, we want to look at the effects and point the finger and say, ha ha ha, ooh, look, they so nasty, instead of understanding the psychological position which is enforcing them to do such activities. Okay, when you look at the weather section, when you look at the weather section, hands down, it's all said right there. You know, it's the deprivation levels that will allow, and then not only that, for them to act out with these type of responses is, once again, like I said earlier, back to the humanism and animal thing. You know? So it's because animals can't act in those functions. Like an animal can't do no BDSM. You know what I'm saying? There's animals that's cannibals, though. You know, the humans, these Europeans were cannibals to survive. And then the habitual situation of cannibalism became so repetitive that it damn near became customary. And then there's also biological conditions which may state that they need cannibalism to survive. And these things are all realities because cannibalism is interwoven into their medical structure. But their medical structure comes from Islam. And Islam has a lot of human body parts inside of their medicine in the ancient times. Okay? And that's where Christians got it. That's where the white boys got it from. You know? And this is also why you don't see too many mummies out of Egypt right now. There's thousands of mummies in ancient times. And these individuals ate them. So when it comes to the activities that they were doing, you have to understand that there was, you know, habitat circumstances which enforced them to act out in certain ways. And then these acting outs became so repetitive that it interwove into their culture over time. And they justified it within their own thinking, you know, by adding other elements to the activity. You know, pertaining to gods, colors, whatever, that they wanted to add to it to justify or to suppress the immorality of what they were doing, you know, by being cannibals or whatever. But you have to understand that it would be best for us to approach these situations and approach this information with a summation that is superior of what they can conclude together, you know. And so that means we would have to deplete all immaturity when it comes to talking about, you know, trying to point the finger or trying to laugh or trying to say that, you know, they're defunct or they're defiled or anything like that. A true scientist does not approach their lab rats in such condition. You don't do that. You know, we gotta be mature with how we approach this information, man. You know, and if we don't be mature, we're gonna be laughed at because we don't understand what we're dealing with. And we won't be able to decipher much more. Like I said, this information that I broke down is maybe only 5%. It is the doorway to it. But it's a very small percentage of the information that's out there pertaining to what they had going on. You know, there's a French version, there's a Scottish version, there's an Irish version, there's a German version, there's a fucking, you know, there's a Slovakian version, there's a Russian version, there's a Jewish version, there's a Polish version. You know, there's a different version for every single thing. That's the plagues, that's the executions, that's the occultism, the witchcraft, the witch burnings. There's a different version by every single country. So there's much research that needs to be done. And there's no way that we can try and look for a form of superiority by, you know, trying to find some small point by downplaying their position. Because in reality, if I was to ask anybody, any black scholar right now, to show me 1,000 paintings from 1400 to 1500 out of Africa, can you do it? Can you show me 1,000 paintings from 1400 to 1500 Africa? Name me 5 philosophers. Name me 10 kings. You see what just happened? Oh, buddy. You see what just happened? So we got to be mature, buddy, about approaching this information and how we talk about it and the terms that we use. Because otherwise, you're showing your position, bro.
Hey, one thing, since you mentioned that about showing paintings and pictures, I take it you don't think that our people, even in the continent or wherever we're in our digital heyday, never like left any paintings or any form of like showing like drawings of how we live?
Bro, of what, Africans?
Yeah, not in Africa, but anywhere where there's like melanated people. Besides Europe.
I've seen drawings of African tribes, but they were done by Europeans when they went down there in the early days and were doing research. Now, I mean, dog, I've read information from, you know, I've read ship logs from Caucasians, man. I've read, you know, journals is where you'll find this type of information. It's personal journals of their travels and ship logs and something like that. And you got to be very careful with that because in certain time periods, a lot of these were fabricated, you know. But there are very real ones of individuals who sat down with tribes because there was a certain way that they took over tribes. And the way they did that would take sometimes up to 50 years on how they did it because they did it in loops, you know. They did it in certain cycles of timing on how they took down tribes and shit. You know, from their large numbers when they were in the tens and the hundreds of thousands by population. So, I've seen drawings, but they were, like I said, they were done by the white boys who went down there and researched them. The only artifacts that I've seen ever produced by tribes, bro, were masks. You know?
Right, and like I think by stating that would be the only thing because I have spoken with Brother Renoko Rashidi, and I have actually seen some of the stuff that he's collected inside him visiting 120 some countries. So to say that, you know, this thing doesn't exist or it only exists through a European lens, you know, that's definitely something that can be argued.
Well, hold on. What did I say that exists in a European lens?
Well, I think, I might be misinterpreting what you said, but it kind of sounded like you just said something to that degree. You said all the paintings or all the artwork had been basically interpretations of the European, right?
No. What I said is show me 1,000 paintings from 1400 to 1500 that was painted out of Africa.
Well, I think right now the reality is with having people like Brother Renoko Rashidi is we haven't had the ability to go to these places and say what is ours or what time frame that it did. I think we're still putting the pieces back together. The research isn't done. You feel what I'm saying? I think we're still finding that stuff.
I got all of Roanoke Rashidi's work. I got all of Ivan Van Sertima's work. I got Czech Antediev's work. I got Isha Kamusa Barashengo's work. I got all of it right here in my house. I have their lectures and I have their books.
Yeah, and to say that all the artwork has been found, to say that Africans from this time were only doing this one, I can't really say that, because all Africans weren't, I guess, in the same situation. So I can't really say that the Africans were not, depicting themselves and because one thing we do know about the nature of the European, that he'll come and take your shit. That he likes to steal shit.
Yeah, but see, that's the whole thing about a European coming to take your shit. Why don't you got the balls to protect it? How does somebody come and take your shit?
And that's what I'm saying. Hopefully you're not saying that that it wasn't that we didn't give attempts to try to protect our shit.
If somebody took it, then that's what everybody's hollering. That's what all the scholars are hollering. That's what the students are hollering, is woe me, somebody took my shit. I got guns. You come over here, I'm taking your fucking head.
I mean, I
Now, that is the rule. So what happened where somebody took your shit?
You damn, a lot of our people died. A lot of our people
Well, it's starting to sound like somebody's a pussy around here. And I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying what we're crying about as a collective. It sounds like a lot of vagina.
Okay.
Somebody
coming to take shit from me, bro. You better come with an army. You better come with a team.
And I think that's what they came with. They came with.
Well, hold on. How do you come to the largest continent on the planet with an army? How do you come to the largest continent on the planet with an army? How do you do that? So then where is their thinking structure compared to ours?
Like missionaries. You had things like missionaries before they would actually send the army up into lands. They had things like missionaries.
I'll show you where they went, where they got us. Where they got us was with the Navy. They had ships. We didn't have ships. We didn't fight on water.
Well, and regardless whatever it is, I think it's saying that they had some type of advancement that we didn't have.
And that advancement is trial and error. See, this is where we're getting into the reality, and this is where we're getting comfortable, because this is where we understand our position, and then from here, we can progress. We know where the fuck we're at, and we're not lying to ourselves. You see, with all of that talk about, somebody stole some shit, you're lying. You're trying to create bullshit. You're lying. You're lying to yourself. Okay?
So you saying this stuff hasn't been taken away?
Bro, it has been taken away, but it's only taken away from the weak. You take candy from a baby. You ain't finna take shit from a motherfucking gorilla. Let me see you try to take $1,000 from one of these convicts out of the penitentiary.
I think that's the reality, because from what I'm understanding from those scholars, before we even realized there was a European around, our civilization was almost done. So even when we're talking about the nature that came with capitalism, the nature that came with greed, the nature that came with guerrilla warfare, this is something unlike we had ever seen.
Exactly. No, you're 1,000% right. And let me show you. You're 1,000% correct. Ding, ding, ding. You come on down and get the $1 million. Okay? You're right. This is what's happening. The African tribal social structure, from rooter to tutor, north to south, was in a format to be preventative towards all elements that would be a negative social structure that would allow the mentality of child molesters or rapists or thieves or murdering or anything of that nature. So you have to understand that the social structure was designed where none of that could develop inside of the people. But we have to understand that this mentality is also a preventive mentality. And the preventive mentality does not allow experimentation. And when you do not allow experimentation, you do not allow science. And that's where they won. Now, here's the thing. They were forced into the experimentation in order to survive. They had to discover science in order to survive because of the plagues, the weather, the witches, the vampires, the werewolves, the undead, the ergot, the alcoholism. You see, they had too many different elements, and like I said in the video earlier that I put out today, their society, they are the first civilization in human existence to be based upon balance. They loved evil as much as they loved the good. They loved the holy as much as they loved the devil. And that's what you got to understand. There was an equal balance, and they all understand their position to be different. Therefore, they can unify and be whole. We're all caught up a boat trying to be the same because we're broke from one cord. The largest trauma that the black male has ever experienced is being fatherless because of what our society was before the African American slave trade. Our social structure was so Trump-tight, we did not allow fatherlessness to occur. As a matter of fact, if any woman in the tribe became a single mother, she would be automatically a concubine to the tribe and not necessarily to an individual. If a woman was caught cheating in the African tribe, she would be killed. Single mothers were not allowed in African tribes, period. I've never studied an African tribe that allowed a single mother around. She had to stay on the outskirts, and she was a prostitute for the entire tribe, and when the little boys got 15, 17, they wouldn't fuck on her.
And you're saying that this came out of organic African culture, dude?
Yeah, bro. What these niggas is telling you ain't no African tribe. I've studied.
To say that what you're saying, you're kind of paralleling that to the mentality. Like I said, this is one in which I've never seen, even coming from, like you say, you studied Brother Runoko Rashidi. I ain't never heard this brother say this.
Yeah, bro, look, man, they're giving you sensitive mama under the skirt bullshit. They're not giving you no African tribes. I got real information, bro. I read information about African tribes coming out of books that were written in the 1800s, dog. Written in the 1700s. I don't deal with this modern day bullshit, B.
What are the names, brother? What are the names in particular of the tribes that were practicing this, being that you studied this?
Well, I have to go look it up. I can go downstairs right now. It's psychosocial customs in South African pagan tribes. You can read that book. It's in that book.
In particular, a name in particular. If you're going this far, obviously you got to have
the same. Bro, I'll make it short for you. The same tribe that your boy is from, the one that just died not too long ago. Nelson Mandela's out of the same tribe that I'm talking about. It starts with a T. I can't give you the specific names because I don't remember. It was many books ago.
I'm not really talking about isolated Africans. I'm talking about what we're saying that this thing was practiced in the organic, where it wasn't just one or a couple of us doing it, where it was like something that where it was popular. And even when it being done, I would like to know who it was that was practicing this. Who is it that you're talking about that was practicing this? And then I think that'll be more substantial.
I think it's the Timbu tribe.
Pointing the finger saying that it was done.
I'm looking at the book right now. I think it's the Timbu tribe in South Africa, Eastern Africa. It is the same tribe that Nelson Mandela comes out of. And what I'm talking about. And the book that it comes out of is Sex, Custom, and Psychopathology of South African Native Pagans. Is the name of the book. Okay, and it's written by B.J.F. Laubscher.
Who? Who is that?
B.J.F. Laubscher. That's Laubscher. I got a lot of books about sexual rights, about African tribes from the ancient times.
And then,
You know?
were these Europeans that wrote these words, brother? Or was it,
Oh, I don't think that one was a European, but I don't know specifically. When I looked them up, I couldn't find a picture or any mention of the author's race.
Okay.
But
that's why I say
but you have to understand, dog, Europeans are the only ones who study like this. So the majority rule, when you're looking up information like this, it's only going to be Europeans who wrote it.
Well, I think they've had the resources, they've had the power. They've taken regardless if you say we gave it to them, they've had the power to go out and research things. With them, they control the right to own the gun or to hold the gun. They own the right to rewrite history. So I think that's what we're seeing right now. We definitely know that they are doing it. But
bro, let me show you something. You can use that, and that is valid, but that is not the truth. In order to get to the status of where these cats have gotten to, you have to submit to reality. And the reality is, and you can only proceed and progress in science when you submit to the reality of what is going on. If you want to lie to yourself about racism and all this other bullshit and agendas, you will never progress. And that's why they didn't progress during slavery. Slavery was a system that stayed behind the wheel and the horse and the donkey for 300 fucking years. They figured it out. They said, hey, we got to stop the fucking bullshit in order for us to progress. Okay? We need to get to a better level where things are easier. And I'm not smelling fucking, I'm not smelling the shit of a fucking horse. I'm not smelling the fucking body in the tree in the fucking breeze. I'm tired of the shit. They had to switch it up. Bro, I'm telling you right now. You can always say that shit to yourself, but I've read many books, black scholars, white scholars, male and female alike, okay? And the white scholars of the 1920s, late 1800s, coming out of Germany, those anthropologists are 1,000%. I have read many books written by white males and white females who are anthropologists, psychologists, and sociologists, and they have clearly submitted in their doctrine that the indigenous tribes were moving in a superior format in certain aspects of the society in which they were dwelling in. You must understand that in America, that the country that we live in, it is a composite of a multitude of different cultures. And the reason why is because they said, hey, this is good over here. The Hawaiians are doing this good over here. I like the way they're moving. This needs to be added to our shit. Okay, over here, the Mexicans are doing this. They roll the taco good. I want the taco in the society. The taco will be good for everybody, make everybody happy. You eat the burrito now. You see? Like, bro, we got to stop trying to paint this picture, because in the ethereal law, what you're really doing is fucking yourself up with your own progression in society, because this is their cage. They made it this way. They was living by these rules before all indigenous people were living by what I put in the Kicked Out of Heaven. Now, I made that clear because they had banks and all this other shit in the 1300s. We didn't know nothing about no fucking bank in the 1300s in the interior of Africa. In northern Africa, yes, that was known. Okay? But in the interior, it's a different story. Okay? I haven't heard anything about a banking structure amongst the North American Indians. So if you want to claim to be a Moorish or an African Moor that was here and the original American Indian and all this shit, you don't know nothing about no bank.
Hey, hold on for a minute, fellas. Hold on for 1 second, please. Gary, why you keep putting me in the green room, man? You're cutting the YouTube audio when you do that.
What green room are you talking about? I'm not touching that right now. I'm leaving the board alone. What's going on?
Keep putting me in the room, and they keep stopping the audio. I hope nobody else ain't logged in.
What do you mean, like the YouTube is messing up? That's what you're saying?
No, like if you look at the switchboard, you see those two little green heads, right? Somebody keep pushing that green button.
I'm not controlling the switchboard. I'm right now on the switchboard. I don't see nothing right now. What's going on? Somebody tampering with our show?
Oh, it must be Sarge. I see Sarge down here at the bottom.
Yeah, 10 seconds. Tell him come up right now. Okay,
no, it's fine. Listen, calm down. The only reason that he does that is because whenever he push one, it doesn't work for him. So he must be trying to get your attention to let you know that he wants to get on the show here. Okay?
Let me see you into the chat room.
No, listen. Look, scroll down the switchboard, and he's down there up under unknown caller. He put his name up under his number. So whenever you want to, whenever you get a chance, just open his line and let him.
I see him. He's got to wait.
Okay. All right, that's what was going on. So he must be trying to let people know that he's on the line. All right, I'm sorry.
Okay,
so you guys can continue. I'm sorry.
Hello? That guy's good.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, good. Yeah, like you were saying, Keenan, before this interruption.
I don't even remember now.
Yeah, Sarge, you fucked it up, man. What the fuck wrong with you, Sarge, man? Shit.
I don't remember what I was saying, but...
Don't go there, man. That was me. So don't start with that. He probably got a legitimate question about from the game.
Okay. All right, good. Okay. Well, you were saying about 1300 in regards to books you have read, Keenan, in regards the information that European males and females write about history. I think that's what you were discussing.
About the what? The European, about the what? What was I saying?
You were talking about the book and everything that was written and research was, my bad. The banking system. The banking system you were talking about.
Oh, yeah. Nobody knows about it. Yeah, they had a banking system in the 1200s, 1300s. Nobody else really knows about that. You know, there wasn't a banking system in interior Africa. So, you know, like, bro, I mean, that's just the game that we're in, man. I know it's hard for a lot of people to accept because what a lot of black people fail to realize is maybe you were being told to yell all that superior shit to keep yourself in the same fucking position. Because they already know higher science on how this whole thing operates. So they gave you the chip for you to talk that stupid shit. It's not detailed enough, bro. It's not reality. I mean, Kicked Out of Heaven, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3 has definitely proved detailed information in reality. You know, all that fucking bullshit got to sit down now. All them old-ass dogmas is fucking trash, dog. You know, all of that shit. Well, like Yakub in the cave and all that other dumbass shit. Shit is stupid, bro. That shit got us looking stupid talking that shit. Hey. We don't even know we look stupid because we only talking to each other with that shit. You ain't talking to no Chinese man with that shit.
That's it, brother. You know, I guess you were working to you know, put yourself inside the history of the scholars. And one thing about it, that the research won't stop with you. You know, it definitely didn't start with you, and it won't end with you. So to say that you know, you got it all figured out, you may have your thing, and you have, but I think it's a constant thing at work. You know, when we look at Dr. Sheikh, when we look at Sheikh Anthony, when we look at Dr. Ben, Ivan Van Sertima, when we look at all these, it wasn't just one. It ain't just one. It's and everybody wasn't 100% right. That's the whole part with us picking up this science, because ain't nobody gonna just believe wholeheartedly what you got to say. We can listen to some of you as we're putting the pieces back together. But one thing I will say how much of what you are saying aligns with those that came and did it before you. Because again, you aren't the first one that did it, or I can't even say that you are the greatest that has did it. You know, I can definitely.
Oh, bro, name me another black man that's written on European history, bro.
Well, I couldn't even tell you.
Ada.
Bro, I couldn't even tell you that.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about, man. Come on, bro. Hey, man, next question, bro. Bro, come on, bro. Next question, dog.
At the top of the game and that, you're saying that you have...
Bro, I'm not saying that. I asked you a question. Can you answer my question?
Well, no. I'm just asking. There's no need. I don't study European, so I can't tell you.
No, it's not about studying European. You know black scholars. I asked you about black scholars. I didn't ask you about Europeans. I asked you, name me another black scholar that's written on Europeans.
Well, you had a lot of people that wrote on.
Name? Give me a name, brother.
Sister Ani. She wrote the book Urugu.
Oh, Mermani?
Yeah, Marimba Ani. She wrote the book Urugu.
And what is Urugu? That's not even a European word.
Well, okay, so right then it's an African term. Like even as we're talking about studying who and what the European is, it's an African term that the Africans utilize to catalog the nature of the European. Urugu. You have names like
Urugu
so
was
even with
1994, Keena Booker. By,
and so even and I'm pretty sure this is something that will pretty much like support your narrative if you're saying that you study European. Like Wazungu is another name that us as Africans we classify the European in that term. So Urugu is one and Wazungu is another. I don't know everything, but these are things that I do know that we have called him or we have looked at him as outside of Cracker, outside of Beast.
Okay, you looked at him as, you called him that, but what do you know about him? What do you know about the magic he's put on you?
This is what I'm saying. Even with us daring to say white supremacy, I think it's just what people are daring to even consider studying this cracker, or even because so many times people will push this cracker under the rug and say, well, hey, we're all the same. We're all just humans. That's what the majority of our people say, rather than studying it in its own nature. You feel what I'm saying? We'll say, hey, we are all. That's what the majority of our people are saying that are melanated, black, or whatever you're saying. We want to say, we'll clump ourselves and say, well, hey, we're all human. And rather than understanding that this European, just as you are studying it came with a history. It does have certain things that are tied to it. It was recognized not only by us as black people in the past couple centuries, but we're talking about even with our ancestors. They recognized and understood who the European was, so to say. So I think even when you're saying your study, this is kind of, it will be opening up.
Okay, this is what I'm saying, bro. I've been listening to all of these African scholars. As a matter of fact, Urugu, I have the film. Marimba Ani is who you're talking about. I have many of her films. I've never watched them or I've never read her material, but I do have her stuff. It's on MillenniumDVDs.com. Now, here's the thing.
Black people. Why don't you study black people that have...
I've studied black people, bro. I just explained African tribes to you, bro. Studying what these Negroes talk about now is nothing. Why? Because they're coming out of Harvard and Yale. Where did Marimba Ani get her doctorate at?
What the fuck does that mean?
Because you're coming from a cracker studies. So what are you talking about?
From a goddamn cracker study. You say
No, I'm not. Listen, let's be very clear here. I have no doctorate. I've never been in the university. I've never been in the military. I'm free bird. I do not have University of Chicago or anybody underneath my belt. You understand what I'm saying? My information is sitting in Cambridge University in Oxford in United Kingdom. Let's be for real. I didn't go to those schools. All those cats you listen to, Jawanza Kanjufu, all of them, Naim Akbar, they went to the white man's universities. I didn't. Let's be very clear.
I didn't say you did, but even as you...
Okay then, let's just know that. I kept it nigga. Know that.
Remember, that's what you just said. You said you...
No, I said I own her material. I don't say I've listened to her. I've never listened to her.
You said... Yeah, right. So even when you're talking about understanding these multifaceted perceptions or understanding that you're bringing us the historical content of the European, I'm just saying, hey, you left somebody out that you didn't.
Bro, I'm bringing you a second analytical draft. And for them to call the white boy Urugu really doesn't mean anything when they can't explain to you what a chitterling is. Do you know what a chitterling is? You know what a chitlin is? Let me bust your head wide open. You know what a chitlin is? Do you? Yes or no?
Brother, make your point.
A chitterling is a snake demon. Matter of fact, the snake demon that talked to Eve and made Eve eat the apple is called Ithyphalus. It's a chitterling, a snake demon. Yeah, white boys got you eating snake demons for eons. Didn't know it.
Either way,
I thought our black lecturers would have let us know about this type of information, or at least had the intelligence to discover this.
language doesn't belong to us, so we're doing a whole lot of shit under the construct of the European. This is kind of
that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm telling you right now. If these so-called cats knew this, then they would have been able to introduce this. Now that's just one deep level. There's many words I can show you. Heineken is a German demon.
How he is defining our reality, brother.
No, he created it, bro. Chitterlings was something that they were doing way before when we were still in Africa, and we weren't eating no. There's not one African tribe I ran across that's ever had no pig intestines inside their diet. Pig intestines inside the diet is exclusively European.
It's an English term. This is an English term. That's all I'm saying. And now we are defining ourselves through this term, regardless of what you say it means or what. It's the English term. We are Africans. You understand? That's showing you that somebody else is in control beside us, the black folks.
Right, but what African terms do you know? For you to call a white boy Yorugu means what? When you're eating his snake demons and buying them out of the store with chitterling written right on top of the bucket.
I the same thing of people that tote the Bible. I don't tote the Bible. So a lot of our black people are taking garbage that belongs to the cracker if they don't know who they are. You feel what I'm saying? If you don't know who you are, you will take any goddamn thing. So you're definitely right. We've taken the Bible. We've taken the Bible with a fucking white Jesus. That's just
you got to speak up to the mic, please.
That's just
no. Here's the real truth to it. The real truth to it is that black people really don't have the emotional depth, bro. The real truth to it is that we don't have the emotional depth. We do not give a fuck, and you can't say that we do.
I think we do, but I think it has.
Nah, your thinking is not proven. Because if we do, guess what? Guess what? Our inventors wouldn't have been in other laboratories. We would have a multitude of different industries out here. All of our rappers wouldn't be making $1 million trying to give us all liquor and shoes. Give me a break. You think we have emotional depth when we can't think past copycatting another nigga?
That is not that.
What are you talking about? If we can't think in an expansive format, what makes you think we have an emotional depth?
We don't have any fucking intellect. We don't have no intelligence.
Okay, if you don't have intellect and you don't have intelligence, you also don't have emotional depth. They are synchronicity.
To do with emotion.
Yes, it does. Because if I'm going to go to war with you and I want to destroy you because you raped my child or some fucking crazy shit, I'm going to have to think very expansive on how I want to torture you and make you feel every single inch of pain that I want you to die from. I have to have and that expansive thought is synchronicity with emotional depth.
You know our minds are not right, man. We're not psychologically intact.
Damn, well, it sounds like a personal problem.
Come on, man. Come on.
Well, okay. Well, you can't blame. Who you gonna blame that on? You gonna blame that on slavery now?
That's all I'm saying. Even when we go to church on Sunday, we got brothers and sisters crying because Jesus was hung on the cross. That's psychologically damaged. We're psychologically fucked up. We got emotion, but we don't know how to apply it in the right direction. We don't know how to utilize it. It's the separation of the mind and the heart. But both of those go in the same. Those are the same thing. But we got too much.
All right, guys. Let's pause, y'all.
Good
conversation, guys. But Gary, do you got a switchboard because there's a couple of more people trying to get on, brother?
All right, Shabazz, sit back. Let me take these.
Listen to what I'm saying, Gary. I think that you want to hear Sarge's conversation, so you might want to open his line.
But he pressed one. He pressed one, right?
He can't press one. I'm telling you, he's down at the bottom. You got to scroll down.
All right. So let me hit one for this. Let me do this one, and I'm gonna scroll down. All ones. Who the hell is this?
Yeah, this is All Facts again. I just want to applaud the brother.
No.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What number, Sarge? Tell him.
I'll open it. Okay, Sarge, are you there?
Look, I'd like to apologize for interrupting the YouTube feed. I didn't know I was doing that, and I don't want to break in on anybody's show without permission. So, I mean, I could have opened up my line, but I don't do that.
Oh, you're good, man. It was my bag for screwing it up. So, go ahead.
That's okay. Look, I'd just like to say here that while I do not agree with everything Mr. Booker has put out, I have ordered his book. I do agree with much of the thrust of what he says because he is attempting to make an honest, analytical attempt as to the behavior of European Caucasians rather than attempting to simply demonize them. And that is singularly valuable, and I applaud your efforts, sir. I really do. I really appreciate you making an honest attempt to explain why they behave the way they do, why their culture developed the way it does, even though I don't agree with everything you said. And I think that's singularly instructive and great. And I would like to answer your question about black scholars who have explained European history. There's one that is supremely prominent. I have about 10 of his books. The gentleman's name is Thomas Sowell. He's one of the most brilliant scholars in the history of mankind, I think. He has written A Conflict of Visions, Black Rednecks and White Liberals, The Vision of the Anointed, Economic Facts and Fallacies, Thomas Sowell, Knowledge and Division, Thomas Sowell, Race and Culture, Thomas Sowell, Ethnic America. I've got every one of those books. He does as good a job of explaining Western civilization and European history as anyone I have ever read. You might want to check out Dr. Thomas Sowell.
No, I see him right now. I've looked him up, but go ahead.
All right, but let me say this now, and I think this is really important to know. Now, much of what you've been saying, I've been trying to tell people on T.R.S. here for months. But whenever I do, I get vilified because, I get cussed out and vituperated because I do it from the standpoint of admiring Western civilization. Even though Western civilization has frequently been atrocious, horrible, genocidal, and destructive, but in the aggregate, weighing its negative and positive attributes, I believe it is the most superior civilization ever. Now, that's my personal belief. I don't care if anyone agrees with me or not. That's what I believe because I've been studying Western civilization for 30 or 40 years. And I would simply like to say that the thing you need to know most about Western civilization is this. Western civilization, no, they didn't invent everything. Nobody's claiming that they did. But what makes Western civilization so dominant is that Western civilization tends to adopt all that is useful and discard all that is not. I said tends to.
Yeah.
And that's why it has been so successful and so dominant in a relatively short period of time. And Western civilization does not necessarily include just white or Caucasoid people. It includes, for instance, Japan, which is solidly in the orbit of Western civilization, and they're a thoroughly Asiatic people. So all you have to do is adopt the methodology, and particularly the scientific method, and that makes you solidly in the orbit of Western civilization. And I think you're trying to say, I don't want to speak for you on what you were trying to say, but I think you were trying to say the scientific method is what Caucasians and Western civilization, and even before the United States, European civilization would do when they were trying to explain.
I got to put you on hold for a second. I got 18. I got 13 minutes before overtime. So
okay, go ahead.
Hold on, Keenan. I want you to get the point started because I have a few more questions to ask Mr. Booker before the show is over. So please.
Hey, go ahead.
Question, and that is, when's your next book coming out? Because, like I said, I ordered the one Kicked Out of Heaven. I haven't gotten it yet. It hasn't come to me. I do plan to read it.
Well, I got Volume 1 and Volume 2 is available on Amazon right now, and then Volume 3, it'll be coming out on July 4th. And Volume 3, you'll have to buy directly from me for a while before I release it on Amazon.
Well, I intend to get them all, sir. You're a very interesting gentleman, even though I don't agree with everything you say. But I intend to read what you get because I think I'll learn quite a bit.
Okay, well, then, yeah, I got the Black Man's Bible and Real Nigga Etiquette up there on Amazon, too, if you want to buy those books, too. Black Man's Bible is my autobiography. It's a pretty wild roller coaster right there, so. I got those available as well.
Dr. Thomas.
Keenan, hold on for a minute, Sarge. Hold on for a minute. We're talking about the book now. Do you have Facebook pages that people can follow, or do you have a website people can go to?
I got it, man. Let's go down the list. I got that's TheeGod720. That's TheGod720.com. Then I have theblackmansbible.com, and then I have kickedoutofheaven.com. Then I have millenniumdvds.com. And you can go to all those websites. You can Google The God 720. You can also Google Keenan Booker. Everything will show up. My music is on Tidal, Spotify, Google Play, Microsoft, Napster. I'm everywhere. You know, I'm on Pandora. My music is over there, and I have lectures that's on YouTube. I also have a blog talk of a lot of blog talk. I have about 165 blog talk episodes that I did in 2010 that are very prophetic and talking about what's going on in the future, what's going to be occurring relative to robots, zombies, and whatnot, and what's going on with our social. All of that's on my blog talk show. And then I have my videos that's on TheGod720, YouTube.com, TheGod720. I have current music and videos up there as well. So that's where I have everything at.
All right, thank you for that. Yeah, I hope you guys got that, TheGod720. And go ahead and follow him, buy his book, make sure that you like his pages and all that kind of stuff. All right, you can go ahead, Gary. I'm sorry.
Good, thank you. All right, so I can turn back on mute because you're going to be long with it. So we're going to move on. Okay, now my other question. And to be honest with you, Keenan, it looks like the callers that called in, they're pretty pleased so far on hearing from the man that wrote the books yourself, man. So it's pretty good thing, you know. You know, at times they don't like Congress or truth or realness, but I guess you went pretty deep tonight, man. Like all my guests on my previous show. You enjoy?
Mhm. So what you had to shoot at me? What question you got?
Okay. Well, you did talk about the banking system briefly. One thing I find interesting during the time of the money in the market, the money changed in regards to coins. Now, is this something that was only done in medieval times, or was it just more further back, like in the time of Rome with Caesar and them, or regards to the?
No, it changed by kingdom, and each kingdom usually had a different type of a different type of religion attached to it. So pertaining to what house they were, and how they were running things on their time would also, whatever king got into the office, got into the seat, the imagery on the coins would change. They would remelt. They would melt down all the coins and then remint them with the new imagery of the new king.
Okay, and they engrave it into their image, so people know the rulership or Congress. Not the best term. Okay. Oh, one thing besides prostitution, there was one little particular session that got me.
Gary, your audio, man. I keep telling you, man, your audio sounds like crap, brother.
Hello?
Yeah, you've been sounding like crap all night, man. I've been telling you that.
Well, you have to say something. I'm sorry. But anyway, the rape was one of the things that caught my attention. And there was like a specific paragraph that deals with rape. And there probably might be more throughout the book because I haven't really completed the book. But in regards to rape, in regards to males, particularly Europeans, in regards to how he viewed and take rape, was it like something that is like the norm of lifestyle, or they pick on specific people or women, they choose rape, this rape culture behavior?
Yeah, no, well, I mean, the rape culture behavior really predates medieval times. The rape culture comes from Greece. And it really comes from the mythology system of Greece. You know, it was always known in Greece that white women expect the male to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. So, if he wants to rip your body in two, if he wants to, rape you behind the bush, that's exactly what he's going to do. And you better let a man do what he's going to do. Because if you're going to talk shit to him, then he's going to take your head off, too. And that's just the way white women are set up to look at white males.
So, in regards to rape, it to them, it's like they find, well, to women, particularly European women, they find a turnoff when a man just takes it.
The white woman goes to the white male and says, you can kill me, you can do whatever you want to me, I'll do whatever the fuck you want me to do, as long as we rule this world.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. I know that's kind of foreign to the black male. We don't hear no shit like that from no black woman.
I never heard some shit like that.
Don't say that shit. They ain't gonna fuck you to make you rule the world. No.
Who's that rule the world? Now, imagine.
Hey, bro, I'm gonna tell you right now, you fucking that cunt, brother. If she don't make you feel like you need to whoop somebody's ass after beating that pussy down, bro, then that pussy ain't shit. If you don't stand in front of that mirror and strike you an Arnold Schwarzenegger pose after hitting that cunt, and guess what, brother? That pussy was fucking garbage. That pussy was Scrooge Deluge. You don't want none of that. Ass fucking pussy, yeah. I'm telling you, bro. You better understand how this shit works. These women to make you feel like fucking God, play with your balls in a certain way. And you want to go out here and fucking rob a bank, go fucking stand on top of the mountain and fucking kick anybody's ass.
I think I'll knock off the fear of enough men, so they can feel invincible after they go.
Yeah, it's just like the prostitutes. The prostitutes, by the city, it was sanctioned that they had to take care of the boys that was running around, little 17, 18-year-old boys that was running around. If they was running around and they wanted some goddamn pussy, the prostitutes had to serve it up. They'd be taxed by the city. Yeah, the prostitutes had to calm the little boys down and go play their balls. We ain't gonna have none of this goddamn congestion. See, the medieval times, they believed in the humors and they believed in the body flow of the fluids. They believed in the flow of the body. So if you got some evil in you, you get it out. You got some congestion in you, you get it out. You need to bust it out, you need to get it out. You want to keep your...
Yeah, man, and they do it blessed. They said, let me take something evil out of you. And they said,
right, I believe that's what the true symbology of the gargoyle is the humors, to keep the flow in the body, the liquor going in the body, keep the shit moving.
Yeah, and I think people understand the word gargoyle. We're not going to that. Students and schooling. Schooling, I know it came in existence around what it said, I guess 1600. And older than that, more than it was like the 1400s when schooling started to be established. Because I think the oldest school wasn't in Oxford in Europe.
I don't know the oldest school. No, they had old universities. I've read information about universities being built up in the 1100s.
Okay.
But I will say that the Cambridge University, where the Kicked Out of Heaven Volume 1 is at, is sitting at, the university that it's in right now in the United Kingdom was built in 1209. Cambridge University.
No, he must be talking about public school structure. Where
Huh?
people go to public school. I mean, he must be talking about the public school. Of course, there's always been universities. I mean,
this is private university. Well, no, I mean, Cambridge University is not private, but by the time you get to that level, it's so exclusive, you might as well call it private. There's areas that aren't private that metaphysically fit into the socialism of privatism because nobody else is there. There's not too many people there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, hold on.
So that's one of those cases.
Hold on. Call in now. We're about to go to overtime in like 45 seconds. 515-605-9783. I repeat, 515-605-9683. Okay. Wait. Let me see who this other line is. R1. Who's this?
Hey, what's up, Gary? Hey, I got a question for the guest. It's really interesting talk, you know. That exchange earlier was really interesting. But you know, I noticed that a lot of people, you know, refer to white folks here as Europeans, and you know, I kind of really have an issue with that because they are not European. They may be of European descent, but they don't mix with Indians. They don't mix with Mexicans and everything else. This is a different kind of white boy than what's in.
No, okay. Go ahead. Okay, keep talking.
Yeah, so, you know, in fact, you know, it's so funny because by mixing with the Indians and adopting the Indian ways, this is how they freaking beat the Europeans, you know, in the War of 1812 and the Revolutionary War. But, you know, so I kind of take issue with this labeling of them as Europeans when they are a whole different breed. They are mongrel like the world has never seen before. And I just wanted to know, you know, what your opinion is on it.
Okay, no, that is very true. Okay, that is true, but it is true, but it's not true. It's true. They have mixed in with a lot of people, but they have kept the basis on who they are, what they are. What is very familiar was very odd, or I can't even say it's odd because it's only wise. The things that I've discovered in the Kicked Out of Heaven, when I ran this information across other white people, they knew what I was talking about. There hasn't been one white person that I've ran across yet that does not know what I'm talking about in Kicked Out of Heaven, at least some type of speck of it somewhere. I've had, you know, I've talked to some white people about it, and they've corrected me on the enunciation of some words while I was talking about it. So they know, dog. They know world history, okay? I mean, for instance, when I was in the torture, when I was doing my research for the torture, some of the pictures and stuff some of the information came from 4th grade book reports, B. That was done in, like, high schools in Wyoming and shit. Yeah, you niggas upset. They playing the game on motherfuckers, bro. Niggas be walking around here with this RBG shit, bro. Nigga, please. These niggas got world history down. Man, that's what I'm saying. All that, man, bro, we fucking ourselves by the way we talk. And the way we talk could have been handed down to us from them. You don't even know what type of levels of illusionary they are on. That's why I put that fucking Vagabond section up in there. In the Vagabond and the Beggar section in the volume 1, so you could learn about the illusion. Okay? Right, the Vagabond and the Beggar section is in volume 1, and then I took you to the direct illusionist in the alchemical realm in the volume 2. So you gotta understand, bro. Like, yeah, bro, some 4th grade book reports, they over here talking about torture in their elementary schools. Negro child don't know nothing about no torture no goddamn where. You have the basketball Jamal, okay? That's it. Yeah, that's the fucking truth, okay?
You said an interesting thing about the Navy. You know, it's so funny because people talk about the guns, but it was the cannon, I think, that really did it. Because the cannons on these ships can fire up to a mile inland. And so, you know, when you talk about these big, you know, ships of the line, you know, that pull up to a country, man, I don't think folks can really grasp or understand how much power that is. I mean, that's
right, exactly. Now, hold on. Let's go there. Now, when we look at a car like the Nissan, which the Nissan is also a Nissan is a Jewish month. Okay, I forgot which month it is. Well, hold on. March or April. The March or April in the Jewish calendar, a Nissan is the name of the month. Now, I go in on that because the Nissan is the Nissan Armada. The Armada is the largest Spanish ship that I think was fighting the English or fighting the French, one of them. I forgot what war it was, but the Armadas. Right, so the Nissan Armada and the large-ass SUV that you see, that holds that metaphysic from the Armada ships. Okay, that was large. Now, when they say during these times, bro, these niggas will show up to your coast with 100 ships, my nigga. Woo! Did you hear me? Show up to your coast with 100 ships, nigga. You don't know nothing about no boat. I'll show up to your coast with 100 ships. A lot of people don't even know how African slaves got caught onto the ships, bro, and it was really a trip. They called it trinkets. What would happen is that the ship would be far out in the ocean, okay, and the slaves would come. I mean not the slaves, but the Africans would come to the coast, and they'll see them way out in the ocean, and there will be all these little silverware and plates and shit in the beach, in the sand, and then all the Africans will come out there and they'll be looking at the plates and they'll be like, oh my God, let me take this back, and they'll use it back to their tribe. They'll take it back to their tribe and they'll use it as a form of currency. So then the second day they'll come back out there and there'll be more stuff out there. It'll be more stuff than the last, and then the ship will be a little bit closer to the coast, but it won't be that close. It'll still be out there, and all of the white boys will be on the ship, and there'll be all this trinket shit in the beach that the white boys will put on the beach, like 2 o'clock in the morning while the natives was back at their tribe, okay? So then they go out there and get all the trinkets. So then the third day, they'll be closer. They'll be like real close now to the beach. Yeah, it'll be real close to the beach, and there'll be all stuff on the beach again. There'll be all the trinkets and the silverware again, and the natives will be out there. And then on the fourth day, the ship will be right there at the coast. And then they'll come out there and get the trinkets, and then when they come out there to get the trinkets, all the people who were on the boat were hiding in the trees, and they would rush out there and catch them while they were trying to get all the silverware and shit. And then they would put them and drag their ass on the ship in nets, B. And this is the shiny item Negro. This is the shiny item. This is the first experience of the Negro in the shiny item.
Mr. Booker, do you know that the British created one of the most extensive empires in the history of the world with an army that was less than 150,000 men, but because they ruled the waves, Britannia ruled the waves, that is how they did it. With a navy that was at least 2 to 3 times bigger and stronger than the next 2 navies combined.
Yes, I'm telling you right now, they did that water game, and see that's a deeper understanding because the air is 80% water, the human body is 80% water. So they understood, as they did many rituals in old Europe, towards owning and embodying, incorporating the spirituality of themselves with the water. And I mentioned that a little bit in Volume 2, I think.
Britain, a lot of people, there's a lot to condemn the British Empire for. But if you look at the way it was founded and created, and believe me, they did it with 2 things. They took India with the East India Company, and then, of course, they took over from the East India Company up the Sepoy Mutiny. But they did it mainly with their navy and a really small army. It really wasn't that big.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
All right, let's go to. I'd ask Keenan. Damn, I was trying to find it. In regardless, and there was a section where you deal with literature, and this thing about folklore. I'll do some. I add some. So.
No, come on with the folklore. Come on.
No, in regards to this, let's say this: the Europeans, let's say for the past 48 years, I'm not sure if you heard of the what they call the Jaffe Recommendo or the what they call them, a sexual manifesto. I'm not sure if you heard those papers or pieces. Have you heard about those?
The manifesto?
Yeah, Jaffe I think Josh recommended. I think that's how they pronounce it in the Homosexual Manifesto, where they talk about.
Nah, I ain't never read nothing about no Homosexual Manifesto.
No, I'm trying to remember the names. If you Google it, it might pop up. It's an article or a paper written back in the late '60s. How they said how they want to, I guess, indoctrinate the world through sodomy, homosexuality and all that stuff,
Hey man, I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of people worship that booty hole, bro. That booty hole, powerful. I'm gonna tell you like a prostitute told me, that booty hole is something powerful. Nigga. Yo, I'm gonna tell you straight up. He told me that shit. Yo, prostitute told me that. I'll tell you no lie. I tell you no fucking lie. She was from Florida too.
Oh God.
Yo, it's real. It's very real, B. I don't know, bro. Niggas be playing. I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like, straight up. All the rappers, man. I mean, the white male actors, white female actresses, man. Everybody, man. They want that little child booty hole, man. They want the booty. Everybody want the booty. Oh, hey! I'm telling you the truth, nigga. I'm telling you the truth.
I'm not surprised. Nothing surprised me.
Hey, man, I bet you there's more songs about the booty than there is Jesus. I bet you. Hey, niggas be singing about that booty. Niggas want to order the booty. Niggas want the booty on the receipt. Niggas is about that booty. The pirates want the booty, nigga. Pope want the booty. Pope gonna play with the little boy booty. And the booty is important, nigga. Booty more important than commissary. Real nigga etiquette.
I never sure you heard about one prisoner that was on YouTube called the Booty Banger. The Booty Banger, the girl's name.
What you say?
Yeah, we live in a bizarre world, man. I remember there was a YouTube video of a prisoner, I forgot his name, called the Booty Band or something. And he said that booty was worth more than, I don't know what the hell.
On the stock market, nigga. Dow Jones, booty, nigga. Yo, this shit is fucking out of this world, dog. Out here, we tried to have sanctity on the planet, okay? We tried to be sane here. We wanted to be intelligent, nigga, okay? I'll tell you right now, that booty done took over. Ain't they gonna say shit about it.
Now, moving on, let me see. Oh, and one thing I came across, Shakespeare, and the tale and legend of Shakespeare and his writings. And this is the part where I did stop at in Shakespeare, and it goes in about how he views, I guess, reality, and how they deal with, foreskin, murder, you name it, in their plays and literature. Some people, like, I think before this chapter I read, the section, they was talking about folklore and, like, literature, about if they deal with a lot of humor in their writing and literature. But when I read it, I always think that if it's something about humor, it has to still to think about reality. Because why would somebody come up and write that unless they really live it? And I'm not sure if I'm confused from, even when they write these things or do these plays in regards to their culture.
You're asking me if it was real?
Yeah, like, anything they write.
Oh, no, let me tell you something about them Europeans, man. They get down. They get down, bro. They have fun. They don't give no fuck, bro. Let me tell you something. Let me show you something. You want to see where the proof, where the comparison and contrast of the black of the black and the white, where white people are having freedom and are in love and doing whatever the fuck they want and ain't got no worries. You want to see where the difference is at? Look at them grandmas fucking. That's all you gotta do. Go on the internet. Watch. No, watch this. Because you see, we all grow up with the stereotype that the old lady ain't doing no fucking. She has the apple pie. She makes the oatmeal for the children, and that's all there is. The granny don't do no fucking. So when we look at the reality of what's going on, them white grandmas be having the dick. They get down. They don't give no fuck. They finna have fun, because this is the only existence you're gonna have fun in. See, niggas be worried about all the fucking bullshit, and they don't get nothing fucking done. So the majority of them black grandmas, they be having their big old ass, and the reason why they got that big old ass is because they're fucking congested, B. They're congested with shit. Right, them black grandmas ain't gonna get no fucking, they don't want to do no fucking. That's why they all passing from breast cancer and ovarian cancer and clitoral cancer and all types of goddamn shit. Clit falling off. Did you know a woman's clit will fall off if she don't have sex?
I didn't heard. This is something new.
Yeah, that's a medical fact. I'm telling you. That's a medical fact.
Look that shit up.
Yeah, black women ain't getting no loving on. Niggas ain't loving on them, and they ain't forcing themselves to be loved on by no niggas. See, black people got a lot of problems with sex right now. The number one killer of black males is prostate cancer, and that's because the prostate gland is getting calcified because he's not busting a nut. The fluid isn't moving through, and that's where we go back to the humors and the medieval sciences. You have to move the humors. So the fluid isn't moving in the prostate gland, so it's being calcified, and niggas is dying like flies. Testicular cancer and shit, because you ain't fucking no motherfucking pussy, because you ain't got no love in your system. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, bro, you see how that shit works? And the only reason you ain't got no love in your system is because you ain't got no in your system. You ain't got no passions. And the passions are going to be dependent upon your intelligence and your force. Your intelligence and your force conclude to the passions, which is your emotions. And your emotions is going to conclude to how good you can love a woman. And how hard you love a woman is going to predicate on how intelligent and how beautiful your children are. See, a lot of people don't understand how this shit. Niggas think these scientists I'm breaking down is a fucking joke. This shit is 1,000% thorough. If you don't have a child by the age of 33, you're a fucking weirdo. Socially, in all civilizations, man, if you haven't had a child by 33, 35, that means you have not conquered a woman. That means you have not conquered the socialism of this planet, which means you are not yet a thorough man. Okay? These are the rules, bro, and that's in every civilization and religion and tribe. Every civilization, religion, and tribe have all the same law on that you must have children as a male by the age of 30, 33. If you do not, you're a fucking weirdo. And we are going to suspect and expect that you're fucking around with children or animals or prostitutes. Right, because we all know human biology. And human biology states when you wake up every morning, you have a fucking hard-on because the sun is up. So if you're a thorough man and you wake up with a fucking hard-on, you need to be jamming it into something. And if you're not jamming it into a fucking woman, then you're jamming it into a fucking animal or a fucking child or a fucking hand. And if you do it with your fucking hand for too long, you're going to turn into a fucking weirdo. Bro, these are the rules, bro. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. These are the rules. And like I said, that is across the board rule. Tribe, civilization, and religion all have that synonymous law. If you don't conquer a woman, you're a fucking coward.
Look now, leave Granny out of it. She got to make apple pies, man. Leave Granny alone, man.
What is that now?
I said, leave Granny alone. She got to make some apple pies, man.
Grammy doesn't.
Yeah, that's right. They got to make the apple pie. Okay, that's right. A dyke, too. When y'all see dykes in public, you look at them like, you're a woman. I will make you enjoy the broom. You will sweep. You will flip the pancake. Butch, you ain't no different. The fuck you mean you think you got a fucking dick? I'm telling you, women walking around here thinking they got a dick is fucking up the balance of men who have dicks, and that's why niggas ain't got no power to fuck no pussy nowadays. I'll tell you right now. Hey, y'all niggas think this is the root science of existence, because this is the science that develops children is sex. Okay? So if you do not know the socialism of sex, you're going to be the victim, you're a loser. That's it. I'm telling you right now. Yeah, dog, when a butch sees me when I walk in the room, she act like she got drugs and I'm the police. That's the face she make. She be moving, her whole shit be adjusted. Yeah, bitch, you know you in violation fucking around up in here. Think you got a fucking dick.
A bulldog, right?
What'd you say?
The bulldog, the dyke type women, right?
Yeah, the butch. Now, let me break down the butch, because the butch is in volume 2. The butch, that word butch is a nickname for a type of witch. A witch that is a lycanthropic witch. That the lycanthropy is her form of transforming into an animal is the rabbit. She likes to transform into a rabbit. And these witches are from the Isle of Man. These are Manx witches. Manx is spelled M-A-N-X. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, so they're a type of witch. So the women that you see that are underneath as a butch, they're underneath witchcraft that they don't even know nothing about. Just by the wordplay alone, you're automatically underneath the witchcraft.
Hey, but a lot of these females that go out the way and, are saying they're confused like that, man, you can't do that much. You know what I'm saying? Just lead them to the website and find actual women. I mean, because it's hard to, conform or, deal with anything that doesn't want to operate in its nature. Basically. What can I say? And, same thing, I'm not sure, and I think you did talk about homosexuality in this book, but I'm not going to go into that in this book because, we already drained up in certain sections. We this week the show went in about homosexuality and either people emotionally like it or not, but it gets too emotional for me to go into this. Moving on. Now to the juicy part, as we soon come to the close, the executioner. Now, people don't know, what is execution? What's the role? What's the point of execution in European culture?
Okay, the executioner and the law. The science of the executioner is not brought publicly in Western civilization. The spirituality of the executioner is really embodied inside the BDSM, which is a subculture. Well, it can be a main culture, but it is also a subculture underneath the sexualism of Westernism, of Western civilization. Okay. BDSM will be a subculture. But then you can also make it a main culture because there's also several different categories that go underneath the umbrella of BDSM. That is where you will find the executioner, the Leatherface, so on and so forth. You will also find the Inquisitor inside that realm. And you will also find the monk. You will find the nun. Okay? That will all be in the BDSM. Okay. Besides the BDSM, it is the law that is brought to us to maintain the public energy of the magic we're looking at here. Now, the law was the executioner's assistant, and it was spelled L-O-W-E. Now, when you look at Lowe's, the corporation, the store, you have to understand that the symbol that they're using as a house is really the Egyptian death chapel. The Egyptian death chapel is the same house as the chapel that you see the word Low in on the Low department store. Now, the Lowe's department store, you have to understand that the link to you is that your home is built off of a scaffold. A scaffold is the location or the stage that was built inside the market for the beheadings and the quarterings and for all other forms of carnage entertainment to occur. It happened on the scaffold. Today, your scaffold is termed as the equipment or the machinery which assists the people to clean the windows off of sky-rise buildings. Or, I gave you that imagery to give you the exact, but the scaffold is also utilized in building your home, which has the mortgage. The mortgage, the mort and the gauge is the death pledge. So mort means death and gauge means pledge. So when you sign a contract for a mortgage, you're signing your death pledge. Huh?
You die. It's to your death.
Yeah, you're signing your death pledge because they expect you to die in your home. That's why they give you a 30-year contract. You have a 30-year or a 15-year mortgage. Right. They expect you to die in there because you're a fucking loser and you work a job. And you're not going to... the way this shit is...
That's right there. I mean, a lot of people don't really break down the linguistics of that. And think about it. Some of these people can't sustain a home now with a mortgage. So it's obviously when they talk about your debt, that's not really the reality as we see most of our people today with these own their houses. A lot of them lose their house now as we speak in this economic turmoil or whatever you want to call it, in regards to a mortgage if they own a home. And nobody's supposed to hold it until you die, but it doesn't get to that direction nowadays. Now that I see it.
Right, but you see, so they got a lot of magic interwoven into all of this. So when it comes to the Low and the executioner, now the Low, he was responsible for waking up every morning and looking for dead bodies. As every night, there would usually be dead bodies in the morning somewhere scattered around in the city. So they'd have to pick up the dead bodies, and then they'd have to investigate the death on if it was a suicide or a murder, and then they'd have to dispose of the body correctly. So the soul will go in its direction on where it needs to go. So those who committed suicides were usually burned or discarded in some other defamed way, like thrown in the river, discarded, given to the dogs, And they would do other bodies who were murdered differently. So if you died in a murder, if you died in a suicide, your body got rid of in different formats. So your soul will be locked in the right areas when it came to heaven or hell. Yeah, these cats took this shit very fucking serious. I believe that's part of the reason why they didn't bury a lot of the slaves that were hung. They hung people and left people hung, so the angels of heaven could eat of the bodies, and worms would not defile the body. Hold on, listen to me. Worms would not defile the body. They thought the worms were of hell, and worms were not to defile the rotten body of their loved, dearing ones. And they wanted to keep the body parts, and that's why they also cannibalize sometimes their friends and family members, is because they loved them so much that they wanted their souls to be intertwined with theirs.
So, one question. One question. In regards to souvenirs of body parts, I take it that means they cut off thousands of Europeans at that time too, right? I think you mentioned him.
Yeah, they ate their own. Yeah, they did that shit way before they did that shit to us, bro. Yeah. They look at that shit in a loving format, bro. They don't look at that shit as nothing as out of character. They look at this shit as love.
Love, so I love you, so I gotta eat your essence. That's how much I love you.
Yeah, so you'll be with me forever. I will watch you. I love my wife so much that if she dies, I will keep her heart in a jar, and if it rots, then so be it. I will keep her head inside of a glass case, and I will look at her head every morning. I will kiss it. I will hold it to me close while I go to sleep. And that's all I have left of her. Because there is nobody else that can replace her.
Very fucking good. Yeah.
Yo, you think the Negroes ready for that, B?
Let me tell you something about our people. Our people, either they're ready or not, they gonna learn something tonight to get this fucking.
B, that's just the reality of it, bro. Like, I mean, you can look at it into a form of sickness. You can look at it into a form of love. There's a lot of different ways you can look at it. But the baseline is the baseline. And the baseline is that they're ruling the world right now. So whatever the fuck they tapped into had to be correct because of that.
Now,
they're ruling the world.
It only varies. But it knows this. And before this, you talk about enough things about witchcraft. So I take our people also do some witchcraft too. Besides here in America, but like in the continent, if you're not there, that there's still things they still do traditionally that what they consider witchcraft. I don't know if you agree or disagree.
No, say that again now.
Like I said, because you talk enough about the European in regards they deal with certain science and what is called witchcraft, but our people do the same thing as well, either here in America, or in the continent, or anywhere we at outside America. So I take it that it's not just Europeans doing this. Our people have the ability and been doing this too.
Okay, no, yes. There are many. I don't know who taught who. Let me tell you, let me be very fucking clear. This is the first time I said this shit. Okay? They call it African sorcery and they call it European witchcraft. There are large similarities by the exclusive extreme details. I do not know who taught who. I do not know if anybody taught anybody. Right, because there's crazy loops in time. I don't know. But there's so many similarities throughout so many tribes and civilizations, it's safe to say that this is the finite bar that unifies human intelligence, the human mind. We have to understand that many things that have been discovered in the Kicked Out of Heaven, Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3, are of a unified human mental structure of thinking. It is not exclusively European. We have to understand. Now, there are also comparisons, contrasts, we got differences. But we have to understand that lycanthropy, for example, and we have to lean on lycanthropy. And we can, there's similarities there with the zombieism/vampirism. Because you have to understand that the zombie, or what we call the undead, okay, it's like this. The undead was the infant. The zombie was the toddler, okay, and then the vampire was the teenager/adult, you see. That's how that worked. We have to go on werewolfism because werewolfism gives us, not werewolfism, but lycanthropy. It's lycanthropy first, which is a medical definition. Werewolfism is an occultic definition. We have to be clear of that. Lycanthropy is a medical, psychological condition stating that a motherfucker is so insane that he thinks he's an animal, and he's so deep into the mental space of being an animal and acting out as an animal that those that see him may also perceive him to be of an animal. This animal being a quadruped, a mammal, four-legged and ferocious, whether that be a werewolf or a bear or a leopard or a hyena or a Bengal tiger, because by culture, all of these different animals have been used in the guise of lycanthropy. Werewolfism is exclusively European. The werewolf, to my research, has not been mentioned in any other region but Greece, Rome, Europe, in that chronological format. Okay? When we talk about Greece, this is the origin of werewolfism activities on Mount Lycan. Okay? Now, like I said, it's a medical condition. Werewolfism is not a medical condition. Werewolfism is specifically based upon ritualistic practices that morphs one into the mammal werewolf and none other. You also have the word called berserk, which is related to the bear shirt, which is a Russian practice. You also have the word hammer. The hammers and the berserkers, and the hammers are shapeshifters, okay? And the berserkers are men exclusively who turn into bears. And these were like mercenary groups of ancient Nordic armies that went to war, okay? And this is where we get our words from. So going berserk is related to going to bear shirt, is related to going to men who can turn into bears. Okay. Right, berserker. And the hammer.
It's like the Wolverine when he goes.
What is it now? Yeah, the Wolverine.
He's Wolverine. You know the character Wolverine with the cross?
Now, and you got to understand, how I'm explaining werewolfism here now is detailed in a different format than how I detail it in the book. How I detail it in the book is in the psychological condition. Basically stating that, you know, the werewolfism is an allowance of freedom, of savagery, is what you have to understand. When we put ourselves inside the space of the werewolf, we are no longer human. Therefore, we are allowed to commit all animal activity. Without. Yeah. You see how this psyche shit works? You better watch this shit. Yeah. That's how it works. You are wearing a costume which allows you to do the highest level of savagery. We have to also admit that there is a sexual vibration that goes on with the werewolfism with women, as women have a natural sense to be ravaged, and this brings the whole woman animus sense up. That's a little bit stronger than what the male is. The male, we don't know if the male has the nature of, you know, the flowers and the poems and the woo-woo-woo, or if the male has the nature of dragging the woman by the hair. If we look historically, we'd have to say that there's been much violence which would allude us to assume that males would drag women by the hair. We see that in the 1800s. We see that in the 1700s. As a matter of fact, if you really want to get detailed, it was socially known amongst white males, Mexican males, and black males in the 1940s. If your bitch talk wrong, slap her upside this fucking shit. That's just what that was known here in America. Okay, if you want to get detailed. Okay? So, when we go back to the werewolf, the male turning into the werewolf, this psychological position may assist within the erectile dysfunction that was occurring at the time with the ravaging of the woman when it comes to the sexual view on what the werewolf holds, okay? The werewolf really wasn't sexualized until he wasn't really broken down until, he was sexual in the 1920s. In the 1920s when they came out with the Count Dracula. And there's a lot of magic with that word Count Dracula because Count was a rank inside the hierarchy system of old Europe. So in order to demonize the word Count and to break it out of its full vibration of having power, they attached it to Dracula, which comes from the Draco and comes from the caricature of Vlad the Impaler. Okay. So Vlad the Impaler is the one that built the design, but we also have to understand, like I said way earlier, that this character, this vampire character, comes from the undead. Okay, is the undead first. The undead is the first. The vampire developed out of it. The word vampire comes from the word Valkyrie. Now we have to understand that the vampire flying in the air and making screeches at night, and the Valkyrie comes from the screech of the owl. Okay, it was known in old Rome, and not in Rome, but Greece, that when a person died, that an owl would screech by the window, and they would call this owl the Valkyrie. Over time, and you have to understand that exclusively, the basis of the vampire and the Valkyrie comes from Transylvania. That is very true. Okay, but the werewolf comes from the basis of the werewolf is out of Ireland. And it is also connected with St. Patrick, as St. Patrick is a saint over Ireland. And St. Patrick turned a whole community, a whole city into werewolves when they were pagans. The whole city were pagans, and they denied to bow to the holy sacraments. So St. Patrick turned him into werewolves, and that's the metaphysics for the holiday of today, as the liquor is what incites the werewolfism, the ravaging and the savagery. And it is done underneath St. Patrick. So you must understand that when we're talking about the occultism of Europe, that you have a line of both sides understand the magic, and both sides will have to use both good and evil principles. And that's what makes it very complex for the indigenous to understand. And that's why we're all so far behind. Because these niggas work by a very spiderweb system of thinking. But it's correct. You can't get around it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So now that we've gone through volume 1, people should really get the book to understand the book in its entirety, because I have the book, and I know people will get it to go in more deep into the rabbit hole of Kicked Out of Heaven, volume 1, a must-get book. Before we wind down, I always like to every guest to if they have any form of solutions people could do moving forward, either better than mine, or any form of solution and how they should operate moving forward.
Just read the book, man, because once you read this book, it is the unconscious mind of the Europeans, of any white person that you see today. So therefore, you are automatically downloading royalty into your system of thinking. Once you read these books, your brain will automatically be wired to royal thinking. So this is going to be way easier for you to.
And also to get a clear understanding of the culture, Eurocentric culture, and why they behave, from past, present, and, moving forward into the future. So I always advocate people, and I never told you this, when I said this, but I'll repeat again. Elder woman told me, said, and back when she was in elementary school, she was taught European history in its more raw stage. But as time progressed in the 50s, going on 60s and 70s, they eventually take it out of the school systems that black people are teaching children. So I tell black people many times, we have to get back and learn as much as we can and know really their history and culture entirely. And this book is one of the first things today that will synthesize the understanding, because it's written in chronological order and has pictures. So it's not just like a regular book. This is like a textbook / museum, like you said, King, and it really is.
Yeah, that book is designed like a museum. That's how the Stars wanted it designed. I must admit that. So they wanted it designed like a museum, so I did my best to compose it like a museum. So, you know what I'm saying? I really didn't want I wanted to be a host. I didn't want to be in the way. I wanted you to hear it directly from the source. I wanted you to hear souls from the 1300s. And there are souls trapped in that book directly from the 1300s and the 1500s.
So, like I said before, people get the book. It's on sale now on either on Amazon or get it directly from theguide720.com. And, you could drop some links to right now so people could get in contact with you.
Yeah, go to the kickedoutofheaven.com, theblackmansbible.com, go to theguide720.com, and millenniumdvds.com. And that's where everything is at.
And, you can stay on track on those sites that Keena Booker gave y'all. And I'm not sure if you priced the upcoming book that's released next month. I'm not sure how much it's going to be. But you take a few pre-orders now, or you want to let me know in the coming weeks?
Yeah, no, I'll let you know when the Volume 3 out. It isn't out yet.
Okay, good. Cause I want to wrap up the collection, because I already got my 2 copies. And, out of all the groups out here on the line, I'm the one that really got directly from you. I tell people I do support that business. I'm saying I get straight from the source. And I always go by a third party, So if y'all can support the man, and he has enough works and DVDs that will keep you stimulated and knowledge over the summertime. Instead wasting time, you could build your head up with some things that we don't know. And I'm still obviously learning their culture is an ongoing process. I'm never going to get it, but I get just to understand clear enough. And that's so important, because living in the world how we live in, and we're dosed into Western civilization, we should know everything like the beast, because the beast work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to know everything about us. So we should do the same thing to know about them. And that will simply make things more understandable in our society, how to operate. Because, like in warfare, if we don't know the enemy, how are you going to operate? It just don't make sense,
Yeah.
So, that's the argument that I always premise, But, when people tell me, why the hell we want to know about European culture, history, and I say, we got bigger things. Yeah, but you still know, you're still operating on their paradigm, and you don't know really the inner work of how this man stay in power, or how he got to direction, Because when customs and things, we fall under them, unconditionally, without understanding. So we got to get a clear understanding of history, There's no end of that. So usually one thing out of our people, Keenan, is evident. Learning with our people, if people take the time and energy, because I know you never gone to college, and as far as you probably might have got maybe a high school if you attended. I'm not sure much about your history unless I ask. But once people go further in their education and they get to that higher learning and they get those our degrees and achievements, all learning cease when with the right people. They don't want to learn nothing else. They think they got it all, know it all, and that's not the case. Your enemy knows a lot, and it continues learning. Because if a fourth grade knows about his history of the world already, and our children don't know shit about the world until they get out the world, who's been prepared? Them or us? So we got to think about this. Reevaluate. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, enough. Let me check. Let me see the comments. Okay. So, any closing remarks you want to say for the guests?
Oh, no, man. I ain't got no closing remarks, man. I got to, this Las Vegas, man. I'm finna get to the city, get wild in the motherfucker, yeah. Yeah. Hey, just keep it real. Y'all live y'all life, man. Don't be all tight in your ass, man, with all this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I read a lot of books, man. I put out a lot of information. I deal with a lot of information, man. But, man, there's a lot of pretty women waiting. So y'all niggas go have fun, man. Y'all stop with this bullshit. And I'm saying that to y'all so I can say it to myself. Because, boy, I've been in the depths of hell studying this shit for the past 3-4 years. Yeah, I don't even get a donation from a Negro. I need a donation. I need some gizmo. Because, nigga, I be over here fucking around with these Europeans in the middle of the market and in their dungeons and all of the types of shit. And, boy, this is some serious game. But, yeah, y'all get at me, man. Let me know.
And I will have you in the future broadcast because I want to go through every volume. So that way people get good sense. So when they get the book, they get understand and feel of the author. So not only the purpose why you write it, but they get the feeling and say, this is sincere and hard work. This is work you put in. It's not something that you just woke one day and say I'm going to write. No, you made a conscious effort. Say, I gotta see the reason and do every research to find what is the real cause of the effect. And you have shown that with this first volume. And the second line and the third line. So, anything else, I keep in touch, So, like always, black people, this is Chaos Effect, so that's the Chaos Reign. I'm Author Keena Booker. I am Chaos, a.k.a. the Gary. And to the next future broadcast. And to find this broadcast, you can log into T.R.S.com where there is the 3-point plan of Black Empowerment and donations and other news articles on that website. And also you can find this broadcast on Blog Talk Radio, TRS, and on TRS on YouTube, which is streamed live both on Blog Talk and YouTube. So when this recording is done, y'all can go back and re-listen to the broadcast, And when you stop, you can re-listen back. But this is, Rain. I am Gary, K Chaos. And until next time, good night.
All right, let me know. Peace.
Another classic. Another classic. Thank you for watching this recap of a stream done June the 2nd, 2017 with my special guest Keenan Booker. You can follow me on Twitter at ChaosReign7. And like always, comment, subscribe to the channel, and like this video. Thank you for listening. Until next time, let's get us reign!